Nice. Why do I not have... There we go, display capture. Sup. I'll move this to the other side. What's the tagline for this? Am I a Smash refugee? As a Smash refugee? Right. There we go. I'm yoinking a like React image for this. As one does. Increase retention. I need some water. I'm woefully underprepared for this. I mean, I have 12 minutes, but you know. I did start the stream not having had any water in like 5 hours. I really enjoyed the soundtrack of Path of Exile. It's not bombastic in any way. It doesn't stick out like super hard, but it's actually super memorable, even if it is mostly pretty chill. It's really funny how there are so many memes that are just like unique to Path of Exile that I never see anywhere else. Praise Toucan. And then, you know, all I'm seeing here is just specific memes to this game. Hello, Dank. How are you doing? Waggers. True. I'm not playing any more WoW in my entire life. The longer I stay away, the easier it gets. I'm not touching Dragonflight. I am not touching Wrath of the Lich King. Also, is the text readable on that background? Am I tripping or is the text hard to read? I wanna check the stream. Please be delayed. Please be delayed so I can check it. Okay, we're gonna do this. Is it readable? Wait, I have to do it again because of the fucking shield thing. Yeah, it's like kind of readable. I don't have the energy to fix it right now. Fuck it. But I might fix it later. Yeah, I'll play Diablo 4. I'm playing Diablo 4. I don't think it's gonna have any content whatsoever, but I am playing it. Diablo 4 is gonna launch with 3 world bosses, 140 dungeons, plus heroic versions of the dungeons. And basically a ton of like randomly generated like kill X mobs in this zone for within 20 minutes objectives, kind of, or like get 10 of these things that spawn in this area for a little bit. And I think it's gonna be fun for like a total of 5 days, and then it's gonna burn out. But they're launching with no content, and then they are expanding it to with seasons. They're basically copying Path of Exile's model, except they're doing so with no content to start with. Hello, Havel. How was Ruthless? Have you played it? I've looked at it, and there's some stuff I really like about it, but I haven't played it yet. Diablo started the seasonal thing. Diablo 2 is what invented the model, which Path of Exile just joined and added more content to. Diablo 3 tried running the model, but they never added any actual content, and Diablo 4 promises that every season they're gonna add a fuck ton of content, and that's gonna be the way they, like, make it fresh every time. Agreed. I see nothing wrong with stealing it. It's also just, like, a model that makes sense. To be fair, though, they did improve it, but not by that much to start with. Like, now there are super massive expansions, basically. Like, every single one of these are, like, massive updates. Like, insane. But these... oh boy! First of all, you can notice that there are 2 every league. One was hardcore and one was softcore, which meant they had half as much development time on each, compared to later when they just do one for both. And then they are very interesting, Kappa, where... What does this league add? Every monster has 20% increased movement speed, attack speed, and cast speed. Okay, compare that to Arch Nemesis League. Okay, that one doesn't look impressive, even though it is, because it links to its own article. Ultimatum probably links to more. Oh, in every area of the game, players encounter the Trial Master, which offers the Trials of Chaos. And they are slightly more complex than just a numeric buff or a numeric value. I mean, we had Heist League. Heist League is like an entire fucking thing. Okay, Heist League. League mechanic Heist. Yeah, this is slightly more than a 20% stat buff to... every monster in a zone. So now they've improved it. Now it's a cool thing, you know. You have expansions basically every league. But back in the good old days, yeah, you get 20%. 20%. Oh, I love those. You know there's a skill that disables regen, right? It's been nerfed now, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't nerfed in Arch Nemesis yet. Wait. Oh, it's only 75% now. Yeah, okay, so you could have made it regen 4 times as little amount of life as it normally does. You just pop this down next to it, and then regen doesn't exist. It's a very nice tech skill to have. You just plop it down, and then you don't care about regen. Yeah, it makes sense, makes sense. I'm just saying that there are answers to that. That did happen, though. It was very funny. We bought tickets for Exile.com, that's sick. I'm pretty optimistic. I saw Al-Kaiser talk about what people want this league. And I think he hit it pretty on the money. Wait, why didn't I just go to the Reddit? Where is it? I swear it was here, not too long ago. Huh? There's no way I missed it. Has it gone that far down already? That's crazy. I saw it like literally an hour ago. Has it been taken away? Can I do a handstand? No. I don't think... Oh no, what people want. It's this one. I don't think I can do a handstand.
Like, people don't want existing stuff to be minused. Anything existing to get minuses on it is really bad for the game right now.
Agreed.
Because people don't want to deal with any of that shit right now. People just want buffs.
Agreed. To skills, specifically.
People don't want to hear anything about, like, this was balanced, nerfed, and whatever. Like, people just strictly want buffs for skills that already exist or new skills added. That is the most important thing for people's enjoyment of the league.
Just give us
Because
The
if
old
they're
skills
playing Seismic Trap
to be viable again.
and Helix,
Yes.
Lightning Conduit,
Yes.
it's gonna be a pretty flaccid league.
We don't want to play the same 4 skills this league again. And you could nerf them, but that is awful. So just like actually make other skills viable instead. So I'm really hoping that the patch notes have that. Generally, for everyone who's joining who's not aware of how they do this, they tend to release the patch notes immediately after the reveal trailer now. So I'm expecting we'll be watching this for like half an hour, or whatever it is, and then we get the patch notes, we read the patch notes, we pog the fuck out, or we go, this fucking sucks, and that's about it. Triple region was the most brutal thing in the universe. That was so fucking funny back in the day. Yeah. Do we have the drops yet? When does drops activate? Wait, do I not have... Is my account should be connected. Like, I've grabbed all these. Yeah. Do we have to wait for the 3 minutes for the drops to start happening? Let me see, what does this say? Oh, from the start of the live stream, okay. So in 2 minutes I get the wings, or rather in 47 minutes. This skill is so cool, but I'll never ever get it, because it's tied to a unique item that I've never seen drop. Actually, that's a lie. I've gotten it twice, but you need a lot to make it, like, good. Yeah, I could run it. It uses your HP, and you just bounce your HP in order to play it. The more HP you bounce, the stronger it is. But the riskier it is as well. Oh yeah, this skill was so fucking funny. Hello, it is I, Zeus, the tornado guy. Yes, everything is viable to get to endgame, basically. I can't think of a single skill that isn't in the current state of the game. I mean the pinnacle bosses. I play hardcore solo self-found. So, you know, I need to never ever die for it to be viable. If something can kill everything but also dies like once every hour or 2 hours or something like that, it's not viable for me. So I need like incredible defensive kit as well as sufficient damage for endgame. So when I say viable and when most people say viable, we mean completely different things. Oh, it's a Trial Master drop? Okay, I'm never seeing that item ever again. Unfortunate. Do I full screen it or do I have it like this? I'm unsure. I think I just full screen it. I think my camera's too big though. Hello, it's me. I mean to pause. Do we just have the chat up as well, and we just chill here? I don't know what most people are doing. Fuck it, I want a full screen. I'm making myself smaller full screening. How are they doing it? How are the big channels doing it? Do they have Twitch chat up? I just have to check since they're delayed. Okay, they're done. We're full screening. I've decided. I'm a follower. I don't do original content. I don't think myself, I just steal. They full screen, I full screen. Okay, let's get into it.
Hi, I'm Chris Wilson from Grinding Gear Games. Thanks for joining us for today's live stream as we reveal our upcoming expansion, The Forbidden Sanctum, which launches on December 9th on PC and Mac and on December 14th on console. Twitch drops are enabled on today's live stream, so make
I'm
sure
indeed
you
getting
follow
the copium
instructions
ready.
below in order to claim your Bloodguard wings. Here's what you can expect from today's live stream. We'll start by debuting the trailer for The Forbidden Sanctum, and we'll then do a deep dive on the League itself.
Sanctum League, endgame improvements, new skills. I'm blocking a little bit, but...
We'll then reveal some new unique items and the massive buffs and rarity adjustments we have made to a variety of endgame unique weapons.
Yes,
We'll then
yes.
cover some balance topics that we have posted articles about recently, jewels, curses, and the replacement of the arch-nemesis monster mod system. Finally, we'll discuss the upcoming release of the optional Ruthless game mode before touching on some quality of life improvements and the new support.
Nothing about buffed skills, which worries me a lot.
Ziggy D and me, where we'll answer questions from Twitch chat. Then we'll drop the full patch notes. Let's get started with the trailer for The Forbidden Sanctum.
That worries me a lot.
In 1 week.
Many have met their fate here in the shade of Fell Shrine.
Fell Shrine?
So
Pog?
step lightly. But here you are bound by new rules. My rules.
Okay, teleporting guy. Looks like heist NPCs, kind of. Same animations.
Each step with gold to tempt you. A foe to
Is this the
wound
5th
you.
gold currency in the game?
A curse to spite you. But do not give up. For vast riches await the bold.
Leaf Slam doesn't dodge beams like that. Or at least it didn't before this patch. That's curious that he didn't take damage.
Sanctum if you must. And one day you may uncover its secrets.
These are always good expansions when you can build towards like endgame thing. This boss looks fucked. Ornstein and Schmo. Yes! Which weapons? Sweep, okay. Starforge? No numbers. Ruthless mode, no one cares. I care, but not at the start of the league. That told us nothing. More Abyss spec. I didn't see the rest of it. It was too fast. Okay, we're gonna need more than this. We're gonna need more than this. Ruthless is a ruthless game mode where you don't have movement skills, loot drops like incredibly rarely, and flasks don't recharge when you go to town. So it's... And also, there's a ton of other stuff, but like gems, you can't buy them from NPCs. You have to drop... They like have to drop, so you go through the campaign on like 1 links or 2 links.
The Forbidden Sanctum is an old Templar enclave, long rumored to be hidden beneath the Fell Shrine ruins. Abandoned for a long time, it is now controlled by a malevolent entity. In this
I really
series,
like that
we'll
it's tied to
explore
lore
it,
that's
find
already
out
there
its
and not
secrets,
new.
And deal with the evil that lurks there. The Sanctum Challenge League is a rogue.
They've already announced loot improvements, Kage.
One room at a time as you explore Rayclast and the Atlas in Path of Exile. In every area or map you enter, you can make a choice of which room in the Sanctum.
In the
you
Arch
will
Nemesis
explore next.
post, they're gonna get to
On
here.
the Sanctum map, you can see the contents of a few rooms ahead, enabling you to plot a path through its dangerous halls. And the Sanctum is dangerous.
New debuffs,
Like
okay.
most roguelikes, you should not expect to be able to complete it on your first try. Getting to the deeper
But you
floors
can.
requires experience, knowledge, and luck. You should expect that your early attempts will fail, but over time, you'll be able to
Wait,
push
he didn't
yourself
die.
even farther.
Huh?
As you progress deeper into the Sanctum, you'll find a variety of treasures that will help you eventually fight your way to the dangers that await you at the end of its 4 floors. Eventually, by endgame, you may be able to push through all 4 floors to face the final boss. Every roguelike needs a resource to help you track how well the run is going. In the Forbidden Sanctum, it is your resolve, indicated by this
Darkest
bar
dungeon,
here.
I see, I see.
As you explore the Sanctum, your resolve is threatened by the dangers within. When you lose all of your resolve, your Sanctum run ends.
Okay, so that's a way to lose
Your level of
without
resolve is maintained between
having to kill
consecutive
you.
rooms on your run, but is only shown when you're in the Sanctum itself. The resolve mechanic applies equally to all build archetypes. Your resolve is reduced when you are hit by monsters or environmental hazards in the Sanctum, and these
I assume you can't
telegraphed
dodge it.
attacks are not affected by regular Path of Exile defensive mechanics, such as evasion, armor, or block. While these attacks do some nominal damage to your regular life, the bulk of their impact is against your resolve.
Okay, this is an extremely
This
hardcore
mechanic
friendly
provides a
league, it
mechanism
seems.
for tracking your progress between rooms, where your regular life pool would long ago have been recovered. Another aspect of the resolve system is that characters who are struggling can be ejected from the Sanctum without actually having to die, avoiding experience loss or hardcore death. So maintaining a healthy level of resolve is key as you navigate the Sanctum, and that means making careful choices of what rooms you enter. Let's have a look at some of the things that Sanctum rooms can contain. Afflicted rooms cause you to gain an affliction when you enter them. Afflictions make your Sanctum run more
Temptations on this
difficult.
one?
For example, reducing your resolve recovery, causing rewards to become hidden on the Sanctum map, or causing Sanctum rooms to spawn volatile anomalies that follow you.
That's fucked.
These minor afflictions
Actually, no,
accumulate
that
as you
seems
get
fine.
deeper and deeper into a run, making it more challenging. Major afflictions exist and are a big deal. They have significant consequences, such as entirely preventing
Oh.
the recovery of resolve.
Okay, that's fucked.
So, a Sanctum run gets harder and harder as you pick up more afflictions. Sounds great. But every roguelike needs a way for you to gain power throughout your run. In the Forbidden Sanctum, that system is boons. Boons are beneficial buffs that help you as you progress through the Sanctum.
Dark Shrines?
Minor boons make
Reuse?
things a little easier, such as slowing down monsters or adding a special shield to your resolve called Inspiration. Major boons don't come along often, but have large effects, such as preventing you from receiving more minor afflictions, or recovering your resolve to 50% the next time you run out.
Okay.
Due to the vast variety of afflictions and boons, no two runs are the same. Generally speaking, your best Sanctum runs are the ones where the afflictions you choose have little effect on you, and the boons either counteract them or have a large benefit for the strategy.
This is
of your
very
run.
promising so far. Depends on the
Some rooms in the
layouts.
Sanctum contain a fountain,
How
which will
same it's
restore
gonna
some
get.
of your lost resolve. Others contain afflicted fountains that restore even more resolve at a cost. Rooms with a treasure reward contain chests full of the Templar Aureus currency, a type of gold coin they used for commerce within their Sanctum. You'll also find some Aureus coins from monsters that you kill as you explore. These are picked up automatically, like Azurite, and are not tradable, and like your afflictions and boons, are lost when your Sanctum run ends. Some rooms contain a merchant who accepts your Aureus coins in exchange for boons. Plan your purchases carefully, as you may encounter the merchant again later on with even more expensive boons to purchase. Occasionally, the sinister powers controlling the Sanctum will present you with the choice of making an accursed pact. You are given several pacts to choose from, and can even opt to take all
Still
of your
nothing
offer.
about how this
All
translates into
pacts have
loot
a
at
big
all.
upside and a big downside, such as exchanging a portion of your maximum resolve for a random major boon. It's very
Normally they
dangerous
lead
to
with
make a
that.
pact, but if you pick the right circumstances, your gamble could pay off. In addition to rewards that help you progress through the Sanctum, many rooms let you immediately receive Path of Exile currency items. But with
Okay,
a
never
twist.
mind, there we go.
Whenever you're offered some currency items that you can receive right away, you
18
will also
chaos
offered a
on
more
completing
valuable
it,
option
okay.
that will be waiting for you after the boss fight at the end of the current
Oh,
floor
but
of the
again,
Sanctum.
you're not meant to...
It's
Okay,
a
I like
gamble,
this. I
because
like
if you
this.
fail your run before you
I
reach
like
and
this.
defeat the boss, you will not receive the reward you picked. Later on, you're offered
How
the
much do you wanna
extreme
bet?
temptation of getting a massive currency reward that is conditional on completing your entire Sanctum run without failing.
How skilled are you?
At a specific point in the Forbidden Sanctum storyline, you'll discover a special altar that Templar relics can be placed on. These relics directly affect your Sanctum runs and are not lost when a run ends. They persist
Okay,
throughout the
so we
league as a
have
permanent source of meta
talismans from
progression.
Diablo 2.
Acquiring
but
new
without
and
having to
better
take
relics is
inventory
one of the
space in
ways
your
you can
actual
push
inventory.
farther and farther with each run you try. Relics cannot be crafted and cannot be traded, as they represent your personal progression throughout the league. You'll accumulate more than you can use
No, I
simultaneously.
think this is sick.
so you'll have options
Since
to
it has
fine-tune
its
your
own inventory
strategy
space,
from
this
run
is
to run.
sick.
You can store your extra relics in the Relic Locker, a free storage space like
Wait,
the
no.
Expedition Locker. We don't want to spoil
Oh,
important story
I
details,
misunderstood
but
it.
the end boss of the Forbidden Sanctum can drop unique items from a pool exclusive to this league.
That
Today
is
we'd like to show you a unique amulet called Eternal
really
Damnation.
good.
This amulet offers a powerful way to gain additional
It's an
elemental
amulet, though.
mitigation by
Oof.
introducing the concept of elemental damage reduction. Despite the drawback of reducing your maximum resistances, if you have sufficient chaos resistance, this is more than compensated for.
Divine
Because
Flesh
of the
builds are
roguelike nature
creaming
of the Forbidden
themselves.
Sanctum, defeating the boss of a floor is a difficult achievement and hence rewards a lot of experience. You may fail on the way, so if you do manage it,
Yeah,
expect a
Sibakwa
good
too.
experience boost for your achievement.
Divine Flesh and Sibakwa are creaming so hard right now.
Another reward you can find is a special type of relic called a Sanctified Relic that has mods that
Account
directly
bound,
affect
okay.
your character's build. You can only unlock one slot for this type of relic, and while these relics can't be crafted through conventional means, you may find special reward rooms in the Sanctum that can modify them. These relics exist for this league only and provide a boost to character power for players who are able to master the Sanctum.
Oh, this is just permanent. This is not
Sanctum
just
League
in the
offers a
Sanctum.
roguelike experience that tempts you
But
into
that's
taking
hype as
risks
fuck.
and rewards you if those pay off. There's a lot to explore in the Sanctum, and we can't wait to hear about your experience.
Please tell me these balls don't do the same amount of damage as the boss.
In each expansion leading up to Path of Exile 2's release, we're improving Path of Exile's endgame, with new content to explore and improvements to how you customize your endgame experience.
Please be
In the
good.
Forbidden Sanctum expansion, we're revamping the Atlas tree, reworking how
Okay.
Eldritch altars function, and are introducing 2 new Atlas memories.
So far, not very
The Atlas
hype.
tree is generally working really well, but has a few problems we'd like to address.
Okay.
The tree offers you the ability to specialize in killing pinnacle bosses, providing extra rewards when you do so. While this sounds good on paper, it creates a situation
It
where
is pretty
you're
boring.
incentivized to specialize your tree for regular mapping. Save
I
up
agree, a
all of your
shuffle is
boss
cool,
fights,
but a rework
and
might not
respec
be.
fully into boss mode, and then do all of your saved up boss fights before speccing back again. Ideally, the design of the Atlas tree would let you spec into one build and then just play the game. We have removed all boss bonuses from the Atlas tree,
Oh.
and have baked some of them into the actual base properties of the boss fights. For
Okay.
example, you don't need to allocate the Gaze into the Abyss notable that makes the Elder more likely to drop a Watcher's Eye, as he just has that drop chance built in now.
Never mind,
The
this is
Atlas tree
pog as
has been
fuck.
focused on allowing you to specialize into content that you encounter in every map. We also want you to be able to specialize into your favorite leagues even more deeply on the Atlas tree. For each of the 10 leagues that the tree lets you disable, we've added a bunch more passives to the tree. These new passives allow you to increase the league's spawn chance to much higher levels than currently possible, and juice the league even further than before.
Don't show Breach. We don't care about
We're
Breach.
making
If
a
that
number
works
of
for
changes
the
to
other stuff,
Eldritch
that's cool.
altars that mostly affect their rewards, but will also affect gameplay decisions you make involving them. Some of the key changes include splitting up the basic currency, Scarab, and Divination card rewards to be explicit in their description of what rewards you'll get. For example, instead of map bosses dropping 3 unknown basic currency items, the altar specifically says which currency item they'll drop.
Thank you, Liam.
As part
I
of this
appreciate
change,
that.
We've removed some of the lower value yet quite common currency rewards from the pool, such as Orbs of Augmentation and Orbs of Transmutation. Speaking of Scarabs, these will be
I
less
don't know what that
available
is,
from
but no,
altars,
I'm
we've
watching
improved
this.
their
I'm
availability
busy.
elsewhere to
Thank you, though.
offset this. Trusted Scarabs can now drop from the core drop pool, and we've added a vendor recipe that allows you to upgrade your Scarabs up to Gilded using the normal 3-to-1 ratio. You can
Oh,
also
that's cool.
perform
I
this action
might
from your
join
fragment
later,
tab
but
using
I'm
the new
streaming in
upgrade
this
button.
now. But thank you.
We have made reward types exclusive to different influences.
I already
so
knew
that
this
you know
though, so I
which
didn't miss
influence
anything
type to
important.
invest in if you want to target
Rusted
on a
Scarabs.
certain reward. To give you a specific
That's sick.
example, if you run maps influenced by, say, Eater of Worlds, you'll see Divine Orbs from the basic currency reward more than twice as often as before. We've also rebalanced rewards so that choices that affect boss drops or influence monster drops are comparatively more valuable. The Wrath of the Cosmos Keystone has been reworked. Previously, it was so rewarding that players felt obligated to use it despite its extreme level of difficulty. It has retained the risk versus reward element, but with the overall intensity toned down.
Nope, count
You
if,
can now also
but
get a
scrolls
weight
start
of
dropping
damage
in
from defeating
stacks, and
major
you can
maps
also
map bosses.
sell a
This
currency to
additional
get a
reward
billion
helps
of
further
them.
balance the
So
expected
you stop
returns
picking
for
up
various
scrolls
types
after a
of
while
rewards.
anyway, because you can just
For more detail
use
on
a
these
nominal
changes,
amount of
check out the
currency to
Balance
get 200
Manifesto
of
we
them.
posted last week, or the upcoming patch notes. In the Lake of Calandra expansion, we introduced Atlas Memories. When applied to your Atlas, they unlock a sequence of maps that tells the story of an NPC's past. These stories manifest as specialized encounters that involve a new challenge and exciting rewards. In this expansion, we've introduced 2 new Atlas memories, describing events related to bestiary and domination. The bestiary memory line allows you to capture harvest monsters as beasts for your menagerie. These harvest
Okay.
beasts can be used in 9 new beast crafting recipes.
9?
These recipes cover an array of options. For example, you can remove one of the special modifiers from a Watcher's Eye Jewel and then add another. This can have potent results, but won't affect
Okay.
the life, mana, or
Sure.
extra modifiers. You can re-roll an Awakened Gem from one type to another. Another example is that you can also reroll a synthesis implicit
Okay.
modifier. If there is
Sure.
more than one synthesis implicit, it will randomly reroll
Okay.
one. The Domination Atlas memory thrusts you into a tale of pantheon gods that stand watch over their shrines.
I guess that's super
Like regular
exciting.
Shrines, these are guarded by monsters and emit a buff that empowers the monsters until you claim that buff for yourself. This Atlas memory introduces a new set of shrines with specialized buffs, guarded by rare monsters that drop tantalizing rewards.
The
The Forbidden
fracturing
Sanctum
orb?
expansion introduces a new type of shard that can drop from harbingers,
Oh,
fracturing shards.
okay.
When combined together into a full currency item, you get the fracturing
Yes.
orb, which behaves the same as the fracturing
Yes.
harvest.
SSF, baby.
With at least 4 modifiers.
Yes.
When the orb is applied, it locks one of the modifiers in place so that further crafting efforts do not affect that modifier. Items fractured in this way can only have one fractured modifier.
Oh, this is so sick for
Previously,
SSF.
this crafting option was gated behind the Oshabi fight in Harvest. Now that it has been rehomed to Harbinger, the Harvest crafting option is no longer available. This means
That's
that you'll be able
fine.
to use your Harvest life
I'm
force
so
and Oshabi
down to
kills
just
on other
farm
crafts.
Harbingers instead.
Because
That's so much more
fracturing
fun.
shards drop from Harbingers, you'll be able to target farm them by speccing into Harbinger
Yes.
content on your Atlas.
I am so down.
The Forbidden Sanctum expansion introduces a number of new skills.
That's so huge for
In addition to
SSF.
some new melee Val skills we'll discuss later in the livestream, there are 2 totally
Assuming
new
they
skills
aren't
that we'd
like
like to
rarer
point
than
out today.
exalts. And even
Volcanic
then,
Fissure is a new fiery slam skill
mean,
that
divines.
can be used with staves, maces, axes, and unarmed attacks. Strike the ground to create a chasm that winds towards your target. This chasm can path around corners before erupting as the fissure gets as close as it can reach. It releases a burst of fiery projectiles that explode on striking the ground. Enemies hit by multiple impacts will take a lot
melee
of stacks.
cremation, okay.
Use it up close for reliable bursts of damage, or aim far away to damage a larger area. Frozen Legion is an unusual spell, summoning a ring of icy statues that attack with your own weapon damage. This skill has multiple cooldown stacks and consumes all cooldown uses at once to summon a statue for each available cooldown.
Okay, this is
Statues
super
perform a
fucking
sweeping
cool.
ice slash, and these sweeps can overlap, resulting in multiple hits against targets close to you.
Oh, this is
spell
the
can be
coolest
used
skill
with
they've ever
staves,
released,
maces, and
just
axes.
conceptually.
The skill is particularly powerful with slow, heavy weapons, as while the statues will use your attack speed, you should instead prioritize the spell's own cast time and cooldown. This
That's probably the
expansion
coolest
also
skill they've ever
introduces
released.
Many new Val melee skills.
Okay.
As you know, equipping a Val skill gem grants you both the Val and regular version of the skill. As you kill enemies, the gem charges
This
up
is
with their
very
souls,
cool.
and after a certain number are collected, the Val skill can be used once.
Using
Most
Vol
of the new
skills
Val
to
skills
buff
introduced in this
melee
expansion
is super
are
cool.
melee skills, and this results in an indirect buff to any melee builds that use one of these skills. Where previously you'd just be using your melee skill to kill enemies, you now get to periodically use a super-powered version of the skill.
That's a very cool way to give
If you like
melee more
Flicker Strike,
identity.
you'll love Val Flicker Strike, as it really dials up the concept of letting fate take the wheel. Val Flicker Strike causes you to flicker dozens of extra times, slashing enemies. During this time, you don't deal any damage to the enemies you slash. You're quite
Okay.
vulnerable due to not leeching or generating
Teleport
fortified
behind you.
when you finish flickering, if you survived of course, you'll be rewarded with a single huge hit of damage against each enemy you slashed. Val Cleave is a new
Literally.
Val skill that buffs the
Teleports
behavior of
behind you.
non-Val
You're
version,
already
in
dead.
a similar way to how Val Reeve works. Val Cleave triggers 2 buffs, one when you kill a rare enemy, and one when you kill either a rare or unique enemy. The latter is a strong buff to regular Cleave, which you can keep up almost permanently if you're able to kill rare or unique enemies often enough. The bonus for killing a rare enemy is that you get to steal its mods for a time. You can enjoy
Okay.
part of the power of having a headhunter without actually needing to find one.
Okay,
Overall,
sure.
Val Cleave is a pretty powerful upgrade to any melee build that could run Cleave. That +2 radius buff is looking pretty good now, right?
Yeah, the +2 radius buff, baby.
We'll showcase the other new Val skills we're introducing over the coming week. The Forbidden Sanctum expansion introduces over 15 new unique items, from Sanctum exclusive
50's a
uniques
lot.
to ones that can be found from Path of Exile's pinnacle bosses. I'd like to show you 3 examples of these, designed by winners of our prior league's boss kill races.
Only 3, okay.
Progenesis is a unique amethyst flask that was designed by Ben and drops from the Uber Maven. It's a defensive flask that grants a mini version of the Petrified Blood effect, but without requiring you to be on low life. This is a useful tool to prevent you getting one-shot by large amounts of incoming damage.
This is a pretty extreme buff to
National
Pathfinder.
Doctrine is a unique jewel that was designed by Rawlings and drops from Uber Venarius. By manipulating your attributes, you can change how this jewel behaves. While the ideal dream outcome is that you manage to get your strength and intelligence tied for highest, enabling both of the benefits simultaneously, the jewel is still very powerful,
has
but only
potential.
grants you a choice of permanent consecrated
It's extremely
ground
niche right now, but it has a lot of
Entropic
potential. I need to
Devastation
look what
is a pair
Profane
of
Ground
unique
does
gloves
again.
that were designed by Gucci Pradas and dropped from the Uber Shaper. Currently, the ways to get Spell Impale are very limited. These gloves provide the powerful property of causing all of your spells to impale on
This would make a very
So let's talk about unique
interesting
weapons,
build.
specifically
Those gloves.
endgame unique weapons.
Yes.
In many ways, the weapon is the most iconic and important item on a character, so it's very important that we make them exciting and worthy
So why
of
have
their
them
unique
based shit
status.
for so long?
While some unique weapons have special properties that enable entirely new builds, others are best compared to powerful rare items as a primary source of your character's damage. We have to be very careful when pitching the power level of these unique weapons. If they're not powerful enough, then they're useless and are ignored.
Every single unique weapon right now. That's not a spell weapon.
Characters from trying to find or craft rare weapons. Interestingly, the above problem
Bro, that's a good ass effect on Profane Ground. Holy shit.
Both existing as extremely powerful unique items, people still craft plenty of rare belts. That's because Mageblood and Headhunter are extremely rare, and people don't actually expect they'll reliably get one in a league. Players tend to treat them as luxury upgrades to their build, rather than something they're certain to get. In this expansion, we're promoting 10 iconic but underused unique weapons to the same tier of
That is a
rarity as
big
Mageblood and
numeric
Headhunter.
buff.
We are buffing them a gigantic amount, and are making them incredibly hard to find.
Okay, that item went from
Remember when Starfield
garbage
used
to
to be an
viable.
exciting
That
weapon?
item went from
Well, after this change,
unusable
it certainly
to
is again. It still
decent.
drops exclusively from the
Probably
Shaper and
pretty
Uber
good.
Shaper, but it'll take a lot of runs or a lot
That's
of luck
pretty
to earn.
fucking hard to get better.
Over the next week, we'll reveal the other unique weapons.
Oh,
that
this
we
item
massively
was
buffed.
fucking
We've
useless.
targeted around 10 iconic underused unique weapons, and have generally buffed only their damage stats.
That's
but
gonna
by
be
a lot.
exciting for a bow build, which currently basically no one
We've
plays.
made a number of changes to jewels that are covered in a recent balance manifesto, but in case you missed it, we
I
want to
need more
quickly
numbers
summarize what the changes
than just
are.
those three.
In
The
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 Forbidden
path
Sanctum
notes,
expansion, we've
patch
made
notes
jewels
better
a better
have
source
the
of
rest of the
ailment
buffed
mitigation
ones.
by buffing the values of ailment-focused jewel modifiers and adding new
Yeah,
modifiers
Crab, I
that
play a
enable
fuck ton of this
mitigation
game.
to a wider variety of ailments than before. We have also removed some ailment mitigation modifiers that were only available on jewels through corruption, because there are now better options through the regular jewel mod pool. There's also
Fair
means that
enough.
other desirable corruption modifiers, like immunity to corrupting blood, are more likely to roll. We want
I'm
the moment
down.
of finding a unique jewel to be way more exciting than it currently is. We've added a handful of new, very powerful unique jewels and have removed some old, less interesting ones.
Okay,
An
sure.
example of one of these
This
new unique
jewel
jewels
is
is
fucking
Firesong, which
insane
propagates
for an
new
alternate
modifiers
way
to apply
of
mitigation to other
getting
elemental ailments. If you're
ailment
able to
immune.
substantially reduce the duration of Ignite
It's
cycle,
all
you
elemental
can
ailments
use
as well,
Firesong
including the
basically
alternative
shut off
ones.
Any elemental ailment. For full
That's
information about
absurd.
other changes to unique jewels, check out the Balance Manifesto post we made recently.
The opportunity cost on that is super low. It's like 3 jewels.
They matter most against unique monsters and pinnacle bosses.
4
We have
including that
buffed
one.
several hex-related unique items and reworked unique items that previously interacted with Doom. To replace the Doomsday Keystone
Sure, that
boss,
looked
we've
decent.
brought back
It's
a
probably
version of an
still
iconic
unusable though.
Curse-related Keystone from the past. We've introduced some powerful new unique
This one is
items that
really,
interact with
really,
hexes,
really
which
strong.
we'll reveal in the lead up to launch. For more details on changes to curses, check out the Balance Manifesto we posted recently, or the
I really
patch
like
notes
the
that
way
will come
they
out after the live stream.
change curses.
When we first created the Arch Nemesis monster mod system,
Here's the
our
buff
goal
you
was
were
to
looking for,
improve Path of
Kage.
Exile's outdated set of monster mods with new and interesting mechanics that have modern game balance. We feel that Arch Nemesis did introduce a lot of interesting mechanics, but it unfortunately had several of its own problems.
Yep.
We have replaced Arch Nemesis with a system that is more similar to the way monster mods worked in the past. The new monster mods are a lot simpler. They now each do one thing and very clearly state what they do. Each encounter with a rare monster is now less complex and is easier to understand in the heat of combat compared to Arch Nemesis. You'll still encounter challenging combinations of mods from time to time, but this
I wish
immersion
they
synergy will be rarer than it was in
added
Arch Nemesis.
color
The goal
to
is
the
that
mods
combat
that
is
actually
interesting and
change how the
varied, with
monsters
moments that get
interact and don't
heart-racing,
give
but
numeric
without the
buffs.
frustrations of the Arch Nemesis system. Let's
Like I
talk
want
about
Temporal Bubble
rewards.
to be
Under
bold or
Arch
whatever.
Nemesis, it often felt mandatory to bring in a magic find culling character to kill some monsters for you in order to maximize your rewards. In the new system, we've added a significant pool of new rewards to rares, but the reward that is on the monster is hidden and not associated with a specific mod, so you don't know what kind of rewards you will get until you kill the monster. Rare monsters with more mods are more likely to have these special hidden reward bonuses.
Very glad
To
this is
find out more
happening.
about other balance changes that are taking place
This
in the
should
Forbidden
even out
Sanctum,
loot
check out the patch notes
significantly,
currently available
since
in the
every
live
mob
stream
has the same chance
Over
of
the last
having it
year or so, some of our senior
and they're
developers have
gonna
been tinkering with a more challenging
appear
way to
more
play
frequently but
Exile.
less stacked.
We've been publicly alpha testing this mode, known as Ruthless, for the last month. are
And you're
planning to
not
make it
gonna
available
you're
to
not gonna
anyone that's
fucking
interested
MF it.
alongside the launch of the Forbidden Sanctum next week. Ruthless is an optional additional character flag, like Hardcore or Solo
Be very
Self-Found,
careful
that
and don't
completely
accidentally
changes
spec
what Path of
this if
Exile
you
feels
don't mean
play.
to.
Ruthless is a lot more difficult than regular Path of Exile, but it doesn't achieve this by making the monsters harder to kill. It instead focuses on reducing character power through extreme item scarcity, limited crafting, and many other changes such as support gems being drop only.
Yup.
Posted an article about the philosophy and rules of Ruthless on pathofexile.com.
Apparently Decoy Totem is the single most broken gem in this mode, if that gives you an idea.
In addition to being a character flag like Hardcore or Solo Self-Found, it's also available as a modifier for private leagues. To be clear, the Forbidden Sanctum League
It has the league
can be played
mechanic.
Ruthless with appropriately balanced rewards. Ruthless is still very
It's just gonna be very, very nerfed.
Make mid-league balance changes to it during this experimental phase. Ruthless is not for everyone, but so far it has found a supportive and growing group of players who enjoy the additional challenge that it brings. If it sounds like something you're interested in, then try it
The
out
fact you
next
don't have
time
movement
looking for a
skills is
new way
super
to enjoy
attractive.
Path of Exile. This expansion also contains a number of small quality of life improvements. Some examples are Divine Vessels can now be used by right-clicking them rather than taking them to Sin.
Thank you.
On the player overhead life bar, the energy shield bar is split into a separate bar.
Thank
can now
you.
right-click an itemized Temple of Atsuatl to see its layout. And
Thank
most
you.
importantly, beast crafting recipes that add mods to flasks now actually say what the mods do.
Thank
We'll
you.
post more
All of these
information
are
about
good.
these and other quality of life improvements in the lead up to release. Today we're launching two new series of supporter packs, the Forge and Gemling packs. Each tier contains the packs.
I very
full face
rarely
value
buy
points
supporter
plus
packs
several
nowadays.
Exclusive microtransactions. These packs will only be available for the duration of the Sanctum Challenge League and will leave the store forever in 3 months. As always, these microtransactions are entirely cosmetic and do not affect your
What?
character's
No,
progression
everyone
or
plays
power.
every league mechanic
The Forge
because they're
series of
all
supporter
extremely
packs contains
useful
6
for
exclusive
various things.
microtransactions.
Every
The
league
clockwork
mechanic gets
attachment
played.
ramps up as you build a kill streak, building pressure and releasing it when your streak ends.
Okay.
The delirious hideout
That's a
decoration
really
is some
annoying
delirium fogging hideout at will,
transaction.
complete with strange voices and terrifying apparitions.
Do you want to make the game uglier? Buy this microtransaction. Delirium is the ugliest mechanic in the game, by like a landslide.
The Forge Guard armor set summons a hammer and anvil so that everyone nearby can watch you craft.
Oh.
The ethereal fusing effect turns your item linking
Bro.
attacks into a spectator sport. If you manage to hit a 6 link,
Bro.
people watching it even prompted to send a congratulatory message. Summoning the Crow Storm portal effect causes a murder of crows to erupt from the portal. The portal becomes dormant if you are too far away from it, causing the crows to take to the skies. The High Templar weapon effect smites the undead you fight and scours the souls of those you put to rest. The Gemling Pack series also has 6 exclusive microtransactions.
BRB 1 second.
The Beehive weapon effect lets your weapon play host to a swarm of angry bees, which erupt from the hive whenever you hit an enemy with the weapon. Critical hits cause the hive to send out its best warriors. The Stampede Quicksilver Flask makes you the leader of your own personal rower herd. Activating the flask causes a host of ghostly rowers to charge alongside you. This is the Gemling Artificer armor set. It is inlaid with gems that match the gems you've socketed in your items. Crafting gems with gem
I
cutter's
bought groceries
potions,
right
fireballs,
before I got
or
home,
recreating
and I
lenses
forgot,
visualizes
so
the
I hadn't put them in.
process for all to see. This armor set also
fridge.
includes alternate gem level up effects.
Wait, what is this? Did I miss anything
Phosphorus Ring
insane?
blesses you with a constant shower of coins, and it helps you thank players you've traded with through a hearty fist bump.
I'm so down. I actually like these a lot.
Bounces alongside you and devours corpses in your wake, spitting out a tidy pile of bones.
If this reduces
Finally,
lag, that would be
this pack
insane.
allows you to reunite with Kadero Perandus, inviting him to your hideout as a vendor. In addition to buying items from you and using his connections to accept your divination cards, he'll provide commentary on your goods, equipment, and anything else he sees fit to judge you for.
That might be a little too much to drink, even for me.
Kadira
Okay.
has hundreds of lines of voice acting.
What? Oh, a mighty headhunter. I'm so impressed. Try to duck when the brain fragments splatter everywhere. You wouldn't want to sully your armor.
This would grow old very fast.
These new
But
packs
that's
are
cool, I
available
guess.
right now at pathofexile.com/purchase.
This portal is cool though. I really like the portal effect.
Directly fund the ongoing development of Path of Exile 1 and 2, and we really appreciate your support.
Thank you, Pika. Thank you very
Meanwhile,
much.
The Knight and Rogue packs leave the store forever in 1 week, so now's your last chance to purchase them.
I appreciate that.
The Calandra edition of Kirik's Vault
Maybe I
Pass
can
is
buy a
only
supporter
available
pack.
at the end of the Calandra League, and will be replaced with a new set of unique items when the Forbidden Sanctum launches.
I'll be,
By the way,
since
we're hoping to film
Smash
season
World Tour
11 of the
imploded
League
and
once
Panda
the
Cup
Forbidden Sanctum
imploded,
comes out.
or will
If
implode,
you want to submit
I
your
will
build for the
definitely be
season,
playing
share
Path
your
of
build
Exile
guide
on
the
release.
forums on pathofexile.com.
I'll be streaming it.
Next up, we've got the Q&A with Ziggy D. Once that ends, we'll post the full patch notes for the Forbidden Sanctum.
Let's
Over the next
go.
week, our community team will post the expansion's challenge rewards, information on how to update your
I
item filters,
need
all
to
new and
see
changed
the
gems,
patch
and
notes
information on how to
for
prepare
skill
launch.
buffs in general.
On launch weekend, we expect to release the new mystery box, and we'll follow up
When
with
it's
the new
released?
Kirik's
Next
Vault
Friday.
Pass and the days after launch. Thanks for joining us and checking out the Forbidden Sanctum. We can't wait to join you in Rayclast on December 9th. We'll begin the Q&A shortly, so please get your questions ready.
I
in
will
chat.
be streaming like theory crafting beforehand though, with Path of Building. I hope they don't got lightning conduit like at all. I hope they do more skill buffs than nerfs. This one, because even when they nerf skills like this, they're still always the best option because of how they work mechanically. Lightning conduit needs like 40% to be like not played. 20% is not gonna do shit to it. For reference, Detonate Dead, which is the most extreme example, needed like a solid 600% nerf, and then including the bug fix, it needed a like 45% nerf, and then it needed
and welcome back
a
for another
like
Q&A
20%
session with none other than
nerf.
Chris Wilson. Good morning, Chris. Thank you
And
for joining us once
Seismic
again.
got nerfed
Thanks for being here as
like
well.
6 times, and
Very
still
keen
the
to
best
jump
skill.
into chatting about Forbidden Sanctum straight away. But as always, you folks can put your questions in the chat, and our helpful team of moderators will pull some out for us to answer. So, Path of Exile gets to be so many things. It has gotten to be so many things over the years.
It's
Do you
still not
really
clearly
feel like
stronger
you
than
just
everything
don't need
else.
to make
Seismic
another
is still
game
arguably
in
better.
the other genre, because you can just make a league that is that genre, like make a farming league or a city building league or a roguelike league.
I guess it's one perk of the job, but we always try to make sure that when we're designing our leagues, they're games that fit within the idea of being an action RPG. Like, they have to involve you killing monsters and finding items in order to fit within Path of Exile.
Yeah, so even when
That's
you're farming,
very hard to
you're
meet.
killing monsters. Or
Killing
even when you're
monsters? Wow,
fishing,
what
you're
games
killing
do that?
monsters. I look
Yeah,
forward
there's
to the one where we pull
Bit of
monsters
an
out of
agenda
the water.
there, Ziggy.
I was planning on pushing the fishing angle.
So that's when you get on the boat and have your fishing league, right?
And you like pull monsters out of the water, right? Like giant fish that you then battle with as they flop around on the deck.
We need to see more on endgame unique weapons.
Sorry.
I'm sorta
I'm in trouble.
tentatively excited.
How do you gain access to the new Forbidden Sanctum?
I
So
feel
basically,
like
every area you're playing in has a portal that
expectations for
gives you
skill
access to
buffs
it.
are
Basically
very
takes
low
you to
if
the
they
next
haven't
room
mentioned
than
them.
Playing in the Sanctum in your current run.
Even when they like
okay, so to clarify,
buffed
then,
skills,
Sanctum's
like,
divided into rooms,
not that
each with their
much,
own
they
encounter,
sometimes
and
put
then
it in the
floors
thing
with
like,
boss at the
oh,
end of each.
massively buffed
And then there's the
skills, and then
whole
you look
Sanctum
and it's like
itself,
10
which is
skills that
multiple
got
floors?
like
That's right.
plus
So
2
the Sanctum
radius.
itself has 4 floors, each one guarded by a boss at the end.
Yes,
with
they
the
buffed
ultimate
unique
boss fight
items,
at
but
the end
that
of the
doesn't
4th
matter in
floor.
terms of
And
skills.
each
I
of the
think
floors
skills
has
are
8
way more
rooms, and so
important
a
for the
maximum
health of the
length
game.
Sanctum run would be
than
32
unique
consecutive
items.
rooms, which you'd play out over potentially 32 maps.
I
But
just
it's
don't
worth
want to play
emphasizing
the same
that,
4
as
skills
with
I've played
most
for
roguelikes,
the
you don't
past
just, install it and
year
then
and a
happily play
half,
through to the
I
end in one
think.
go. It's something that you get further and
I
further
played
in each run
Earthquake,
as you
Seismic,
get
Detonate
better meta
Dead,
progression, as you learn more about it, and as you have good
Toxic
versus bad
Rain.
runs.
I presume it like level scales to
Explosive
the character
Arrow.
kind of as you're leveling still, as
Yes.
per regular.
And I
leagues.
didn't play Lightning
Is
Conduit
there
because I didn't
any
play that
potential, do
league.
you
But
think, that
those
someone who's,
skills are
like,
all the skills I've played
quite
for like
good at the
over a
game
year and a
maybe
half,
gets
I
through on
think.
their first try,
Earthquake,
or is this quite definitely
Toxic Rain,
a
Detonate
very
Dead, Seismic.
We never underestimate the players, right? Like we
Yeah.
will try as hard as we can to achieve something, and then players will just blow right past that because there are millions of them and they're pretty damn good at the game. So I don't want to make any promises there, but it certainly is the case that in order to get really deep into the Sanctum, you have to know a lot about it. You have to have some experience with it. You have to
Someone's
ideally
gonna
have a
first
good
try
character
it.
with a capable build. You'd ideally have a good setup of your relics, which are the meta progression. To get to the deeper floors, it certainly requires that you've assembled relics that fit with your strategy. And it also helps to be having a good run. I can't emphasize that enough. It's very roguelike, where you're picking up these random boons.
The
these
thing
random
you're not
afflictions.
thinking of
If
in
you
my
get the
case
bad
is that I
afflictions
play
on you early
SSF,
on, that run's
so
not
it
gonna
doesn't
last
matter
long.
in
If you
terms
get
of
a
it.
really good set of boons, you
I
can have a
won't get
really
to
good
enjoy
run,
it
much
until
further
later
than
in
you
the
otherwise would
league,
at your current
which
level.
is fine, but
This is so you mentioned like
I also
30
think
something rooms. That's like the biggest thing
there's
with
so many
Half-Life 2
skills like
competition,
that where
right?
it's
Even
like,
building the temple was around 11
even
max
if they
to build a
buff
full temple and then run that. That
the
was
best case
that's a pretty
unique items, there's
sizable
just
thing.
straight
This
up
is a lot
better
bigger than that
versions of
one.
skills.
That's
Like, why would you
correct,
ever
but
play
a
Sweep?
lot of the rewards you're getting along the way.
Why would you ever
So
play
it's
Molten
entirely
Strike
fine
right
to play
now?
the Sanctum a few floors in and then fail and play again, and it's still a rewarding experience, assuming you don't gamble on pushing the rewards right to the end of the entire Sanctum run. But it's unlikely
Why would you
you're
ever
going to choose to
play
do that until
Lightning
you are
Conduit?
really confident in your ability to do
Or not
this run
Lightning Conduit,
particularly well.
fucking...
Yeah, so I saw the reward options are like take
Not
a tiny reward
Stormburst.
now, take a decent reward.
What's
at the end
the
of
other
floor,
channeling
so
lightning
you're like,
skill?
oh, I can make it 3 or 4 rooms.
I don't
And
even
then there's
remember
the
the
really big
name.
one at the end as well. And there's
Yes.
stack right if you get a bunch of them.
That's right, and it was kind of funny because in the live stream I said this is a massive reward, and we're showing like a few Chaos Orbs as the reward. So of course, you know,
We'll see what they
chat
do,
memed
how
that as
they
much as they could.
balance it, but
The
they
thing
did
is,
mention
okay, so
rarity,
let's do
so
some
they
math
might
then,
have buffed
right?
a ton of them, but made them
32
rare, which I'm
32
good
rooms
with.
in a Sanction run,
Lightning
and
Tendrils, yes.
deferrals
Lightning
make up
Tendrils, like,
something
why would you ever play Lightning
40%.
Tendrils?
Deferral is what I'm internally calling the offer reward here. It makes up around 40% of the rooms. And
Wow.
so if you're offered an average of a whole bunch of Chaos Orbs, I think the example there had like 18, but obviously the currency numbers will vary a lot, then and you were to
Hello,
defer those
Awesome Bee.
entirely to the end of the Sanctum run, you would be getting hundreds
God
of
kväll.
currency. And it can have divines, mirrors, and various other stuff in there moderately rarely.
Okay.
So it's entirely possible that were you to defer everything to the end in a big gamble, you could receive a very, very large payout. Now, of course, deferring it to the end of the Sanctum is a crazy strategy. We don't recommend that. It will end in tears. Only do this if you're confident in this run. It's set up so that the rewards for immediately taking them are still worthwhile. If you play the Sanctum and just took the reward immediately, it's a decent amount of currency that makes it worthwhile on top of the other
I
rewards
think
you're getting.
You should probably
But
do at the
there's
end
always
of the floor
temptation at
on
the end of the
average
floor.
until the
floor
very
one is
late
the one that's
ones.
juiced a little bit. Of course, in later floors, the end of the Sanctum doesn't look very far away, and if you know you're having a good run, you've got confidence.
Well,
that
the
by
thing is, they
actually
can
getting
change the
rewards by
skill
doing a big
numbers. They could
gamble.
make sweep viable by just quadrupling
deferral
every
mechanics
number
are
on it,
pretty
and it'd be
substantial,
fine.
'cause you've designed leagues where
It's just
you
that a
get,
lot of
like,
them are just
some
strictly
reward
non-competitive with
immediately,
everything
and then
else.
you design leagues where you do like a lot of content and then get a ton of rewards all at once.
Like, they have
this allows
mechanics that are
players to have
fine.
control
Like, you,
over that mechanic
the Static
and
Strike is
themselves
super cool, but
themselves.
has shit
Can I be
like
numbers.
Sorry.
I was just
You
going to
could-
say,
you
this
could,
is because roguelikes have
like-
good runs and bad runs. If you're having a bad run, take the
The
rewards
only
out
reason
as fast as
that
you can.
Lightning
Having a
Strike
great
is
run,
as
that
good as
gives
it
you
is
the
because it
ability to
double
make an
hits.
ultimatum-like
If
gamble.
other skills also did
right,
that,
you can
or
make those
Lightning Strike
strategic
didn't,
decisions kind of
and
based on, like,
everything was
this has been
buffed to
a
like
brutal
be
slog. I am
competitive,
no way
then
am I getting through
you would
this.
have a
I'm
lot
gonna
of
check out
variety
now.
depending on which
Got it,
setups you
makes
wanted to
sense.
run and which
Have you
unique
thought
items you
about,
want
like,
to
the
use. But
player
now it's just
mindset?
always strictly better to
Well,
use
just
Lightning
like,
Strike
I
than
always
every
get
other
the
melee
big
skill,
one, 'cause I
basically.
look at it and I'm like, I'm always going to take the one, and the biggest one, I'm never going to get it because I'm always going to die.
Obviously, players want to min-max stuff. They want to get the best result. But
No,
the
it
best
doesn't.
result may pragmatically say, I'm going to take this reward that's in a shorter time frame. Plus, okay, so anyone who's done
Like, there's
economics
a
of
ton of
finance
skills that
understands the
occupy this
concept of the
space
time
with
value
a
of
few
money.
outliers.
$1 now is worth more than
But there's not
$1 later,
enough
so
of them.
put it to use right now.
Like, you
And
have
when these full Sanctum runs taking 30 maps,
Sunder,
maybe
you have
getting
Sunder,
a pile
Earthquake,
of Chaoses,
and
potentially some higher currency like
Tectonics,
Vaults and Divines, a
Tectonic
few maps from
Burst,
now
I think.
is actually better for
All
your
of them
character
are around
development
the same
than getting
numbers,
a
and they're
very
all
large pile
viable.
on 20 maps.
And
maybe, especially when there's a commissional element to that. It
they
may be
all
that getting
occupy
something
around
a
the
few
same
maps from now that
space.
you can then trade
You
to
could
get more
definitely
progression
buff up
is
Sweep
actually
to
better for you.
be
So there are a lot of hard
competitive
decisions which we put
without
on the table here for
ruining
the
the
players.
space that's
Yeah, I
already
have
there.
to dig out my old economics textbooks.
Even if you make a few of them
Excel, right?
egregious and way too
Now you're
strong,
speaking our language.
at least you get variety.
talk the
We've
resolve
played the
mechanics. So to
same
clarify,
4
resolve
skills
is an
in
independent
Hardcore Solo
spell
Self-Found
card
for
Yes.
over a
Forbidden
year.
Sanctum specifically, and when your resolve runs out, you're kicked out of the same.
My day was pretty good,
right?
given the
That's correct.
circumstances.
Now, I noticed the reaction when we're announcing the
I mean,
resolve system
I
there.
did
There's
a
lot of players
6-hour
like, why is this a negative thing?
Subspace
But I want to
Emissary
take the
run
chance to
through
explain it.
yesterday.
So we tried very hard initially.
after that,
to work out a system here,
my mood is like way better.
no additional bars. The problem is, though, Path of Exile's player life fluctuates up and
How's
down
yours?
rapidly. You're constantly healing yourself. You've got recovery. There's no persistence to this. Your player life is like
Yeah,
how out
P
of breath
plus.
you are, if you see what I mean. It's a very brief. It's almost like your heartbeat to some extent. And so, if we were to say, look, if you lose some life in this room, then when you come back into the next room, that life is going to be missing. So you've got a
Good
kind
question,
of
Party
progression through
Crab.
the sanctum. Then they just press 1 and heal themselves fully. And
Post
carry on
nerf, I
playing.
probably don't
And
recommend
so
Toxic
our
Rain.
experiments where there's no meta progression,
Caustic Arrow is very good
do not
still.
function as a roguelike. There has to be a thing where you get worn down. Having said that, half
what's
of
it
the planning
called?
here, half of the strategy you have to do in your sanctum is work out how you are recovering your resolve. And
What
there are
would I
lots of
recommend?
different ways. It's a
They've
long
all
line.
been
I mean,
a
it's as
little bit
simple as
weaker for a
if your
while.
resolve is lower than you'd like because the sanctum one is one you're struggling with, then you have to start pathing through various things like
Scourge Arrow is
fountains or
not very
getting
good right
chosen
now.
boons which enable more resolve recovery.
In Soul
And every
Saffron, it's
time
pretty
you have to
fucking bad in
choose
Soul
something
Saffron.
focusing on resolve
What's it
recovery,
called?
you're
Tornado Shot is
implicitly
stronger
losing
at the
some
moment.
other thing you could be
Until you
getting,
get
like
enough
more
gear.
rewards or a different axis of power. And
I've
so
played minion
the
skills.
degree to
I've
which you're
played
struggling
Spectral
with the run forces
Helix
you to
and
focus on
Poisonous
staying alive and not
Concoction
getting
and
rewards.
Spark.
But conversely, this means that
Poisonous
having a good
Concoction
run
is
where
a
you're not
mapping
struggling
only
to
build
kill,
basically.
you can just
I don't
kind
think
of
it's
ignore
that
your
good.
resolve
Spectral
and
Helix
focus
is
on
one of
becoming
them,
super
yes. I
powerful.
forgot to mention it.
And
That's the fifth
this
skill I
works
played a
really
fuck
well as a
ton.
roguelike, and I would
Spectral
really
Helix
encourage
has
people
been
to
so
try it out
egregious
before
for so
judging it
long.
based on the fact that
Minion
it's an
skills
additional
are
life
not
bar.
very
You don't have
good
those kind of things
in
for no reason.
hardcore
And
because
and
they
minions as
will
well,
grief
that
you and you
you
will
don't have
die
much
to them
pressure on
fucking
your
up
actual
enemy
player
AI.
life, and it's
That's
very
why minion skills aren't that
interesting how
popular, but I did
build
play
agnostic this is,
operatives when
because
they
it
were broken.
creates a situation where different Path of Exile players can
And
experience the
Spark only
sanctum
recently
in
got
similar
good
ways,
again,
despite the
so
fact that
I
builds
missed
play
last week
quite
because I was out
differently.
traveling.
This is why this Q&A is super good to do, because you get a chance to explain this, like how you arrived at this design decision that you can't really do in the reveal, because it would
Yeah, it would
bog
take a
down
while.
the reveal for like 10 minutes. So that's super interesting. You actually touched on a topic I wanted to ask. So Resolve seems to reward high mobility
No, it's not.
playstyles that
It's not a pretty
completely
solid
avoid
bosser.
attacks. So
It caps
since
out way too
mitigation doesn't
early.
affect Resolve damage, how does it feel playing like a low
Mechanically,
mobility,
yes.
tanky
That,
melee
numbers-wise,
character in
no.
Sanctum? Won't you kind of just be failing runs
It
due
is
to
so
chip
much
damage
worse
that
than the top
otherwise
tier
is
that it's not even
affecting you?
close.
We thought of that. So we've made it so that the resolve damage is lower if you're close to a target.
It's
Essentially,
a
if you're melee and right in
borderline
their face,
viable
then you take
bosser.
less resolve damage than if you're further
But
away.
it's not a
And
good
so attacks
bosser.
are also very telegraphed, and that means that even if you're a tanky melee character, you have an opportunity to get out of the way. You probably should consider at least a Quicksilver Flask if you're going into the Sanctum, so that you have some ability to respond to stuff, but that's normal Path of Exile play. Even in Ruthless, where there's significantly less mobility skills, Quicksilver Flasks still exist.
I'm very
The other
curious
thing is,
about the
if your
reworked
build
passageway.
is one where you're expecting to take a lot of resolve damage, just spec your relics into
Yeah, but I'm
resolve
racing a
recovery.
lot of time.
Relics are your meta progression that you can choose. They're locked in for the Sanctum run, and you keep them between runs. So if you feel that you want more resolve recovery, get relics that do that. And if you're a character that's given up
But yeah,
mobility,
I don't
has some
disagree in
ability at the
general. I'm
expense
just
of maybe
saying
less
that
damage or less
playing what
tankiness
you
or
think is
something,
fun
then
is
there are
pretty
other
hard
things that
when
can
there's
specialize
like
their
an
efforts
online
into if they
economy
have
as
a lot of
well.
resolve.
Like if you feel like you're
That,
gimping
taking
yourself
less
by playing
damage
what
at
you think
close
is
range
fun,
seems
then a lot
super
of people
interesting.
don't
Is that
think
like
it's
kind of
fun
a-
anymore.
a
That's
maybe
why
a
it's
far shot
rough,
mechanic
especially in
for
a trade league.
projectile attacks or something?
It's like that for all of the
Oh, it's the
resolve
Atlas
stuff,
tree
and
that's
this is
reworked, not
something
the
that we've
not
realized is
the
necessary
regular skill
because
tree. The Atlas
melee
tree
and tanky
has a ton of
characters get up
changes
close,
on it
and so it's
to
better for that to be balanced.
All right, cool. And
To,
just
like-
to clarify for people, if you are
what's it
playing
called?
hardcore, this means you can fail
Ugh.
the Sanctum without dying. So it's like
to let you
That's
spec in
correct.
different ways that we don't know too
Right,
much
the
about yet.
intention of the Forbidden Sanctum is
No,
that
the
you
reason
will
I go
fail the
SSF is
Sanctum
because
many,
I
many
fucking
times
hate
on the path
like
to finding good
trading.
stuff in it. And so if
But that
meant
doesn't mean
hardcore
I
character was dead, then
don't
start
want to
again,
be
it wouldn't
strong
be a highly
and
compatible league.
play
And
like
so the
like I
side
value
effect
my
of
time.
Resolve is that
That's the
hardcore
difference. I
characters
value
gain
my
the
time a
engagement
lot,
without
so
putting
I play
themselves
the
in
strongest
mortal
stuff
danger.
because I value my
It also
time
means, of
and I
course,
wanna
the way that
accomplish a
experience
ton of
benefits work,
stuff, like
high-level
beat all the
characters
Uber
can play
bosses and stuff
without putting their
without
current experience
having
so
to
much on
spend
the
a
line. I
year.
mean, it's still very. I mean, I've died in the Sanctum numerous occasions with legitimate player life deaths because I was careless, but it's certainly easier from a player life point of view than, say, high level mapping.
Disliking trade is not the
But
same
that
as
kind
not
of speaks
comparing
the
yourself to other
concept of
players.
Resolve as a whole. Resolve is about how well you've done over the course of the entire dungeon, whereas your health is how well you've done in this specific engagement, which is an interesting kind of like two-faceted approach that we don't normally have in Path of Exile. Like if you do bad at the start of a map, it doesn't matter. It doesn't affect the rest of the map, right?
Yeah, we'll see how
And
Resolve
it's also
works.
meant
I'm
that If we
curious.
want something to be dangerous, we up the resolve a bit. We don't up its damage, threatening the actual characters.
Interesting.
Yes, I would be extremely
cool,
happy
alright.
with a total
So
metal
to clarify
shift.
on the sanctified
They could
relics,
just
the relics,
randomize numbers and
the
make
effects
other
weapon
skills
can
completely
target
broken,
outside of
and
the
then make
sanctum?
dumpster
That's
the
correct,
current
yeah, both
ones.
inside
And
and
it'd be
outside. So these are
awful.
permanent
And it'd be
powered power
awful
reversion
like
for characters.
balance,
They're hard
but
to get.
as
They're
long
very
as it's
endgame, you know, we're talking about
refreshing, that would be
and they're
way more fun.
obviously due to the fact that they can't be crafted.
Like, I don't think you comprehend
and
how
can't be
much I've
traded
had to play
means that,
like
you're
similar-ish
very limited
skills.
in, how many of these
I
you
played
get access
Gauntlet
to,
last time,
but
and
they're
Gauntlet
very
was so
powerful, and
brutal
because
that
of
I
the
was
fact
like,
that they
oh,
can't be crafted or traded,
you're a
we've made
toxic
sure to
rain
push the
build,
mods on
you're
them
an
to make sure
explosive
that
arrow
they
build,
down these
you're a
relics,
seismic
which,
build, and then most
will
recently,
significantly affect
you
the
are a
character power,
detonate dead build.
of your
And
build.
it's like,
Now, they
I
are
guess that's
shared,
what I am.
among all the characters on your account, or meaning you can equip, you know, from the same pool. So it does mean that if you find one for one
I
character,
don't think they're
you want to
nerfing
use it on a
rewards at
different
all. I
build,
think it's
entirely
buffed
possible
overall.
too.
Very cool.
Oh, nice, I got
how
the
does
drop.
Sanctum work in a party then?
Okay.
Woo, I got the
Got a bunch of
wings.
rules here. Short answer is, as with all recent leagues, we want party play to work, but we also want it so that people don't feel encouraged to cheese things through party play. And so the philosophy basically is, like, one of the problems with Arch Nemesis with the whole culling situation is that players realize when they find a certain monster that, oh, I now have to engage with other humans in order to get maximum results.
Yes,
We
that
want
is exactly
Sanctum
what
to
it
work in
is.
a party without creating the feeling that you have to engage with humans in order to get the best out of your Sanctum. It shouldn't feel like you only want to go in there when you have a whole bunch of friends who are online at the same time. So we've come up with rules that enable you to play as a party, and certainly there are some benefits for doing so, but there is also some liability to it. And so the way it works is the Sanctum is always that of the map owner. The person who created the map is the one whose Sanctum you're playing. So if Ziggy and I are playing and we're doing Ziggy's Sanctum, he's the one getting the progress for that. I'm there to help, and afterwards it would be nice if he reciprocated and we did my Sanctum as well, but it's primarily your one that's progressing. And so this means that you are the one who makes the choices about stuff. This is the one, it's your relics matter there. We're using your gold, your boons, your afflictions.
So they're not
and
just
your
duplicating
resolve
it
bar.
per
That's
party
the
member.
important thing
Makes
to note.
sense.
If you invite other party members into your Sanctum with you, they don't just get a free ability to have their own resolve bar, which doesn't
Yeah.
matter, or they can run around and distract the monsters. You are, as a party, sharing the resolve bar with the map owner. And this means that extra party members can't just go and suicide themselves on stuff to distract the monsters. They actually have to be playing properly. Party member deaths do not end the current run, so if they happen to die legitimately, that doesn't screw up what you're doing. There's a bunch of other small rules there, like you know, party members can view the merchant and view the map, but only the map owner actually makes the choices and purchases stuff. In practice, what this means is it's fun to bring people in and play together. It does give you a small advantage from a combat point of view if you have multiple players, but you do all have to be playing cohesively, so only bring in party members you trust. You can also drop party members in and out, so by that I mean, like, you know, I can play this room with Ziggy and the next one with someone else, and because it's sharing my resources, that's compatible without having to have like a party resolve bar that's, you know, reserved for a specific group of people.
That
and so
implies
on.
that the resolve doesn't
So if
change
I
at
bring a
all
viewer
based
in, I
on
realize
more
sabotaging,
players.
they can
You
run
share
in
the
front of all
exact same
monsters.
size of resolve,
Great.
which is
That would be
probably
hilarious.
fine
I'd
because
like
how
to do
much
that.
stronger parties are generally. They're
Please.
probably just blast
Please.
the enemies faster.
Okay. We got a couple of chat questions on the mechanics here specifically as well. Also, I just wanted to add another one. When you die in the Sanctum via resolve death,
Yes.
and your character flops on the ground like a fish,
Hmm.
are you fully protected from taking any damage from any source, dots,
Thank you.
anything like that? You guys have
Thank
checked,
you.
right?
Yes. I checked this yesterday. The list of things you are like, I'll read it to you. Cannot be
Please
damaged.
do.
Minions
Okay,
take
good.
no actions. You have grace
Thank
period.
you.
Dealt no damage.
Thank you.
Minions have no damage. Minions cannot be damaged. There's a
Thank
whole bunch
you.
of stuff.
Good.
You're
Okay.
protected.
If anyone dies
Excellent.
to
Just had make
being
100%
in the
sure. We didn't want
down
people, like, I fell
animation,
over in the Sanctum and then I
that
died
is gonna
walking
cause a
before
like
my character.
nuclear outrage. They're just chilling there like, oh,
Excellent.
and then they disintegrate. And you're like, huh?
losing a resolve death. TK Hectic asks, is your XP lost or is your XP protected?
My belief is, correct me if I'm, yeah. So that was the dev check. You don't lose experience if you
Okay.
fail out through to resolve, and that's because it isn't actually a death. It doesn't increase the deaths count. You don't lose experience. You don't lose hardcore characters. It's entirely
Imagine you lost
basically
hardcore
fainting and
characters
being
and you had to
ejected.
balance an entirely different resource than life.
Do we
or
need
you
to
die.
interact with the league mechanic every zone, or can we somehow build them up or save them to run them all at once?
You do interact with it in every zone, and it's not a particularly long encounter. These aren't very large rooms, but yes, you should interact with every zone.
Yeah, sometimes you literally just, you would probably just portal in and click a fountain and leave, right? And then go back to your map?
The structure is that every room, so the basic way it works is You take the portal and you appear in a small antechamber, which enables you to make a choice. You click on the map, have a look at what the options are of where you want to go next.
This
take a
is
look
not
a few
true,
ahead,
Relish.
And you lock in a choice, and then a door, one of the 3 doors, or up to 3 doors in that room, slides open. So you go through.
Like,
now you're in the actual main sanctum.
they missed a ton
so
of
you
stuff,
do whatever the objective
but
is in there, which may be just getting
look,
to the
I
exit
know
or
alpha
killing the guards
testers.
or whatever, and this is
I know
always
for a
added to
fact
the
that
point, which
they
means
were
once
way
you drop your
worse
map, it can
before
quite
the
easily
release.
be
It's just they,
and then you end up
yes,
in the
they have been
reward
very
room.
bad at it,
Every
but
room
they
has
have
a reward,
tested it.
and these vary from all the things we've talked about.
I don't think it's changed at all
Fountains,
that
affliction
much.
fountains, merchant, treasure room, and so on, or the
They miss
offer of
interactions
PTI
every league.
referral. And
That's
a whole
just how
bunch
it
of
is.
I should add, there are a lot of other reward rooms we haven't shown in the live stream. Like the goal here is players explore and find stuff, so we only showed a subset in the announcement.
There's broken shit every
so
single
after you've
league.
done that, you're right back into the map you were playing. And so
The more
it's
complex
a
the league, the
relatively
more
quick
broken stuff
process
there
and
is.
does improve your sanctum progress or give you some actual currency with each room you play.
Yeah, for some behind the scenes insight here, for this one we were specifically like, let's try and avoid spoilers as much as possible for like the things you can discover in the Forbidden Sanctum. So
Yeah.
there's a fair
And
bit of
there's
discovery process there.
There's a lot of discovery and there's quite a lot of story as well. Like there's an actual reason why the Sanctum is,
Cool.
got this bad person in there and what's going on with that. But we'd much prefer people actually enjoy that rather than us dumping it all on them here.
And bosses too, I'm very excited.
Yeah, lots of boss fights.
I'm excited for the bosses.
I was thinking they might just be like 2 or something. Very good.
I think they are. I looked at one of the ranged enemies,
damage, lose your resolve,
and they
I'll
use
type
an
up that in the
ability
news
from
as
the
well.
Path of Exile 2 trailer. So they're doing some clever asset rework there.
Excellent. Does
It's gonna be
self-inflicted
fun
damage
to play
affect
all
yourself?
these leagues where they use
think it
the
does.
skills from Path of Exile
There's a
2,
lot
and then
of
suddenly
shrugging.
you're using the
No.
enemy skills.
It's only damage that's tagged with affecting your resolve, like ones from the monsters. There are some, let's say, environmental.
Can you find an
hazards in
example of that,
Sanctum. You
Relish?
can
'Cause
see it
I
briefly
can't.
In some of the footage of some big model
Ultimatum,
and that kind of thing. An object in the middle of the room
like,
that's spewing out laser beams
past
that
you,
rotates, for example. That stuff will break your resolve. But it's really telegraphed. Like it's very.
There
easy to
hasn't been a
look at.
mechanic like
There
it.
you go. That answers
where that
my Jordan's
happens.
question as well. So we'll move on to the next topic, which is endgame changes. So the
Heist
need
is
to stop
nothing
between
like
bossing
it.
and mapping in the Atlas trees was definitely something that felt awkward.
Like,
so
I get your
pretty excited
point,
to learn
but I
more
don't
about
think
that
anything
change.
major has changed.
Many of the nodes have been rolled into
I
the
mean,
game
I'm
as
expecting
default
stuff to
now
be
for
broken at
bossing.
release here as well.
But are there
Just
any
not
passives
super
that
broken.
remain on the Atlas tree for bossing reward stuff? I'm guessing there are still nodes, for example, to enable the Uber versions of the various bosses, at least.
That never
There are
happened.
Uber nodes still, so if you want to play the Uber fights, you can allocate the passive.
That wasn't what
Thankfully,
happened.
it's a very
They
small
they
investment.
spawned as
Very often, and the
they
main
spawned
problem,
as
which is
cruel
where you have
monsters.
to- you feel like
Or
you
no,
have to fully
as
play the
merciless
bosses and
monsters
fully
before
understand
we got
back
10
and mapping,
leagues,
which is a large
10
investment.
acts. That is the only time anything like that has happened.
It's worth noting the kind of people that are doing Uber pinnacle farming. Can
There was
afford
one
the
period where
regrets,
Act 2
like
skeletons
passive on and
spawned
off from time
as
to time.
merciless
But
skeletons,
basically the
which
plan
was
is that you
too
can play
difficulties
bosses every
later,
time without feeling
which
like
is
you have to
why
respect
at
your
that
tree or
point
you're
that
missing out
happened.
on
I know people talked
I mean,
about
it's
that
also
happening
important to
later
note
on, but that was
those are not the default bosses
debunked.
now,
That never
thankfully.
happened.
Very good. Some of the allocatable boss nodes made things more challenging in addition to more rewarding. So, for example, Inevitable Ambush, which added a second Guardian to the Guardian fights. Things like this made
They did
default
buff the
behavior
skeletons
now,
though,
or are
but
they
they're still
passives,
buffed.
or
Like
are
that's
they
not
just
something they
The
went
ones that
back
had
on.
extra
The
challenge
skeleton
added
mages are
ones
still
gone
fucked.
for now,
The
but
spark
this isn't
mages
that we
still
don't
do
like
like
them,
10
we
times
don't
more
forever.
damage than
It's a
everything
case
else.
that we want to bring them back
But
in
that's a
some form.
balancing thing.
And
That's
we
not a
have some
bug.
plans for this. They probably won't be an at 320 release, but we do have some cool ways where basically the ability to opt in to the challenge and reward is not going to come from the tree because that creates the problems we've discussed, but it will come from somewhere. And so players will be able to get their challenge and reward back for those. But in the meantime, obviously, there's still a lot of ways you can ramp up the juice.
If
and
you find
challenge
it,
from
then
these
hit me up,
encounters.
because I'm... Yeah, but
Jack
that
was
still
wondering
happens.
if,
Like, the
Atlas
spark mages have not been
Tree
nerfed.
viewable today alongside
They got
patches, or is
buffed
that
and they have
not
stayed buffed.
I
They
don't
are
think
still
it's
the
today, but
scariest
our
thing in
expectation
maps.
is to release it before release so that you do get a chance to plan around it.
Okay. Reign of Pain Games asks, there was mention of boss nodes being moved from the Atlas to passive tree the bosses directly. To avoid what happened last league with loot, are there any number changes happening with the modifiers? that are worth
I'm
mentioning?
unaware of any. I mean, we've tried very hard to communicate everything as clearly as we can in the patch notes. I mean, I can't promise we haven't missed anything, but we have scoured stuff.
If you
in
find
order
it,
to try
tell
to
me.
make
I'm
sure
pretty
it's
sure that
complete, and also
like,
written
I
down
remember
straight
the
and our
debacle, and I'm
information
pretty
based on
sure
this kind of stuff. So
it, like,
we are trying
nothing
very hard to
changed,
disclose
slash
any
it wasn't
small
actually
changes
like
like that which would have an
mechanical
impact.
thing.
I'm not aware of any stuff we haven't spoken about there.
All right. Let's talk a bit about rare monsters.
Very funny to
I think a
see
lot of
Chris
players are
Wilson in
very
the
happy
center
with
view
the
as well as in the
also
top right
about
view.
the replacement of the arch nemesis.
This is super
system
cool, the
for
beast
rare
crafting
monsters
stuff.
with
I look
a
forward to that.
new, more, I guess, nemesis-like system. Do you think that this new system will still achieve the goals that you set out to achieve with Arch Nemesis, though?
Good question.
The goal of Arch Nemesis initially was modernization of the effects and their balance. We felt that the old monster mods were just really old. We just basically needed to give them a fresh
Yes.
coat of paint. Now, our fresh coat of paint
Was
included
worse.
some stuff that players didn't like, and so we're trying very hard to make sure the new system does achieve the core goals of Arch Nemesis without
Yes.
having the things that people didn't like. And so
I'm pretty
to
sure that
effect,
that's what
it
you've
now does
done.
use modern effects. You know, there's a lot of cool stuff that we weren't doing with the system that was 2 systems ago, and the balance is appropriate for current Path of Exile. So it's definitely ticks those boxes, but at the same time, it's trying to be much more understandable and simple and a bit less in your face than Arch Nemesis was.
Yeah, this looks way better than Arch Nemesis. Fracturing Orb is going to solve so many problems. Holy shit.
To a new rare monster on average.
Crafting in SSF was miserable this league, but it's probably not going to be miserable next league if Fracturing Orb is like even remotely like achievable to target farm.
Had a grab bag of stuff
If you can get like one a day
do more damage
through like a ton of mapping, then you're good. Like 1 or 2 a day, and that's more than enough to do cool crafting.
And so it cohesively had a kind of a, this is a fire, it's going to screw you up with fire in 4 different ways kind of theme. And so therefore it applied to pretty much any
Assuming you're
character,
spec'd into
right?
Harbinger,
some
that
way
is.
of interacting with them. The new mods are very simple. The new mods say, cool, you're not going to be able to do much fire damage to me, or I'm going to do a lot of fire damage to you, or I have a magma barrier. They just do one thing. And therefore they're very, let's just say, Boolean against certain players. I'll give an example. Let's say you run into a rare monster with 2 mods, and those 2 mods are that it will blind you and that it's resistant to fire damage. So if you're playing a cold caster, neither of those mods affects you whatsoever. They're literally nothing. And so you can kill a monster easily and it doesn't do anything extra to you. Great. And on average, you're often encountering this. But if you're playing a fire melee character, it blinds you, it can affect your accuracy, and the fire damage is going to be mitigated against it. This will be a harder fight. It will wake you up a bit when you encounter it. And so you're going to find this situation where a lot more monsters are just speed bumps along the way and aren't causing a problem. And sometimes there'll be one which causes you issues because
this is
of your
good.
build.
This is good.
And
this
so
was the huge
it's
issue.
Quite a different experience for different players, but
too
overall,
many monsters were too difficult on average,
and you're not encountering.
And you needed to always have your eyes open, and you could never relax, which was the annoying part.
You feel good when you're playing a build and you run into a challenge. You're like, "Ha, my build doesn't care about this at all." You feel clever, you know. Even though it's just kind of the luck of the draw on that one, but yeah, that feels good. So on the modifiers, only doing what they say, fantastic.
Agreed.
However, there still kind of remains a problem where this information is in a small text list at the top of the screen.
Yes, I think you should bold some of them, or like
idea of
color code them.
The new modifiers in some way to help players identify them, or maybe using other systems like, I don't know, little symbols, or maybe like color-coded glows on monsters to denote certain
Thank you.
and so on.
They do have visual effects on them in many cases, so you often can see.
But not on the text, which is the important part.
Like.
You
but
need
otherwise, what we focused on here is to succinctly and completely describe what the monster does in text.
Yes,
and this is a list that has more words than Arch Nemesis, because Arch Nemesis would have something.
Yes, but
like
you could also color code it.
And then what does that?
Magma barrier only gives magma barrier color coded.
Oh, yeah. And so now it specifically says what it does. This may mean more reading. It may not be a good endpoint here, right? It might be that we need to make the things slightly more concise.
I like that Siggy's already like, needs more work.
Yep. Because part of the problem with keywording was then a player can't look at the keyword and actually understand what it does. So
well, that's because you bundle too much shit in it. I think keywords are fine if it's just one thing.
Currently, it's not color-coded. That was something which went with the keywords in Arch Nemesis. I mean, it could be restored, but we'd like people to play and give us some feedback. If you guys can suggest...
Okay, I think this is fair. I understand why they haven't done it.
You know, so that you can easily identify them while you're playing. That's really
I think having like blue color for ice mods, for example, and like red color for fire mods, or just an icon next to the text would be really nice.
The color coding would be a good thing. It could be something that could be done gradually over time as well. Like you start with elementally aligned things are color coded alongside their elements. For example,
one thing we have done.
I like how every time I say something, Siggy just says the exact same thing.
Monsters that says like resist fire, resist cold, or vulnerable to fire, vulnerable to cold. The one that kicks in when they have approximately 15% resistance. Was feeling a bit spammy alongside all these mods. Like when we're asking you to read 2 or 3 short lines of mod text, having like resist fire, resist cold underneath it as well was quite a lot. And so we've moved
Rational Doctrine is going to be very cool.
Right of the life bar. And so if you're the kind of character who cares about which monsters are fire resistant, you're just glancing at symbols now rather than trying to read text. And that's helped declutter it quite a bit.
So that's great. That sounds awesome. I look forward to seeing that. Yeah, it's kind of like what I was talking about. Yeah, little symbols in the life bar is a great idea. Excellent. Good to know. So let's talk about the loot goblin issue. It seems like it'll be solved by players simply just not knowing which monster is going to be the big loot pinata.
Very much looking forward to this.
But how do you
Felt
feel
really
about
weird to
the
be in
loot
SSF
conversion
when
system overall?
I
Because thought
found
the
a
system was quite
Innocence Touch
interesting,
mob and I
but
was like,
maybe a little
oh,
tainted by how it was
I've got like
implemented.
60%
For
MF
the
in my
unfamiliar, the
bag.
loot conversion system is this new system that takes
60%
what a monster would
rarity.
usually drop and converts it
I
into
can
a
put
new
on a
type of
greets
reward,
plate.
or currency, for example.
And then
So
you just move
we've
on and you're like,
reviewed
oh.
the loot conversions and added some new ones, dropped some old ones, like the ones that just gave you piles and piles of flasks, for example. As far as I know, that doesn't exist anymore. And we've gone through and made sure to use the feedback that people have had.
Thank you. The flask one was the single
So the
most
way it
tilting
works
thing in the
is
universe.
rare monsters drop more items than regular monsters.
I was
By
hype
itself,
about it
that should be
the
enough
first
reward,
like
but we wanted to be interesting.
4
We
hours
wanted
in
people to
maps,
feel
and
like they're
afterwards I
really,
was like,
that
please,
there's
no
an
more
extra
flasks.
reason to kill rare
I
monsters
don't
because
care.
you could otherwise ignore them. And so you basically have these bonus drops that can occur. And bonus drops include conversions, but they also include a lot of other stuff. And there's a chance of getting the bonus drops that's proportional
Have you
to
added new
the
bonus
mods
drops?
that are on the monster. For example, if a monster has 2
This
mods
sounds
on it,
like they've added
then it
new
has 2
ones, which is
chances to
good.
get a bonus. If it has 4 mods, it has 4 chances to get a bonus. And the individual mods have higher chances where I believe like the more difficult ones, like for example, if there's one that's similar to one of the old Pantheon mods and that it does, like it evokes some,
Wait.
god who comes and smites you, for example.
We have more
then
info.
It is significantly higher. There's a significantly higher chance that it's going to have a special drop.
I played Heist day one. I played Heist in SSF Hardcore day one and never died in there.
That results in there being a very
It was extremely toxic how hard it was, and I don't think it was balanced. And yes, they got stuck way too much, but I did play it from the start.
But you don't feel
fun fact, and it was playable from the start.
Try to min-max what your exact party composition should be in order to get the maximum rewards from that fight. We've also tried to smooth this out a bit more. Like the thing in the past where you could potentially, under the right circumstances, get dozens and dozens of divines from a monster, and then everyone else feels like.
But yes, it was broken for a while, but it was still playable.
Make sure that there are still spikes, but it's a bit less spiky than before. There's
never actually died in there in the league.
Different things and a lot of the
oh yeah, I know. I was
a lot more variety too. It sounds like.
No, I think regular heists were fine generally,
as well. Like,
but grand heists. Oh boy, I did not dare to run grand heists. That was not okay.
In a lot of cases, they could get a little spicier.
Yeah, it's worth looking into. Yeah, we've been focusing this cycle on trying to get the monster mods into a good place.
Ooh, gold trophy sick here. I like the signs like this.
Yes. Oh, feels good.
Those power washing videos. It's like that.
Yeah, I'll get my gurney out and hose off the arch nemesis filth. Oh dear.
Warriors coins are okay.
Definitely threw me there. A lot of people in chat asked, how will Headhunter work with the new monster mods?
Okay, this is the first question we were expecting. There are way more mods now. That means
can you buy the gold trophy here and then accidentally buy something else after and then get nothing?
Relatively few arch nemesis mods. I mean, there were still dozens to be fair, but there were fewer. Once you've got them all active, you can't get more. Whereas here there are far more mods, and so you can have far more upper end power. Having said that, these do less than the arch nemesis mods because that's what you asked us to do, and so they do implicitly. Like at the low end, Headhunter is less powerful. At the high end, Headhunter is more powerful. You pick which is best.
It's a kind of a slower ramp up to a higher
Burn
potential.
relic, okay.
And we're calling Headhunter Val Cleave now.
Yeah, Vol Cleave. Yeah, that is the new Headhunter.
Immortalum asks, does that mean no more fractured flasks because of the flask thing being removed?
Oh yeah, right.
I happen to know that.
Isn't this strictly better? This looks strictly better if you have enough resolve to pay for it.
The flask conversion is gone. That and the piles of whetstones ones are 2 examples. Yeah, it'll fracture regular flask drops.
Okay. Simple Cookie asks, will the Atlas passive that increase the amount of mods on rare monsters be added back with the new rare monster changes?
I don't think it has been. Do you
Oh,
know that?
this is good.
Yeah. I mean, we certainly discussed
this is kind of fucked, but it's kind of good to have strike
skill
skill stuff on it.
Of how many rare monster mods is appropriate.
Leaf Shade? Really? Okay.
An issue with feedback is if there are ways to juice it up and then people say there are too many mods, we don't know if they necessarily had that active. So we'll consider it for the future. But, this has been year of rare monster mods. So let's just try this new system and see if people appreciate the changes. And then we can look at further changes to it.
Okay, Frozen Legion. I will lower the volume of them a little bit.
Recently you swapped kind of Divine and Exalted Orbs around. Now that we've had a league with the various changes surrounding
Wait, I gotta hear
these
this.
high-end currencies, I'd like to know what were the goals of effectively swapping Divines and Exalts, and how effective have the changes been?
I think this is
the goals
fine,
were that
not
exalts
having
were
it.
used more for crafting, that someone would actually
Yeah.
consider taking an item and using an exalted orb to get another mod that is
I think
random.
that's good.
That's happening now, a lot more than it was before. Secondly,
The cost
we
was
wanted it
not
to be
worth it
harder
the
to
first
divine
league,
items,
but
not
it should
just
be fine now
as we
with
move
the
forward,
added
because
divination
it makes
cards.
well-rolled uniques more valuable. Previously, because divines were really accessible, well, relatively accessible, it meant that if you have a really rolled unique, it didn't really feel that special.
I think divining items is 10 times less exciting than exalting
now,
items.
Quite a wide variance of
Divining
stuff.
items is a billion times less exciting, except for like Mage Blood.
You know, the worst versions of it are worth quite a lot less than the really good ones, and that's more fun because
Cooldown is 0.8 seconds.
of something that someone else has that's worth less, and you feel good about that. These goals were achieved, right? Like, it certainly is harder to divine items. It is easier to exalt them. The economy survived. Life goes on. We'll continue to make broad changes whenever we feel like it that affect the economy, but it's sometimes good to just cause a bit of a shift in how people value items, so you don't get entrenched values, you don't get people believing.
This is so fucking weird. It's both a spell and a attack.
So for the standard players that are still,
how do you even want to scale it?
Of exalts because they didn't convert them over in time.
It scales from attack damage.
Like, oh, I had entirely all my money
and
in Bitcoin,
spell damage, I think.
Right? Like, diversify, right?
No, it scales from spell stuff too.
Chris is teaching multiple economics lessons today.
It only scales cast speed and cooldown, which you don't care about as much.
It's really
currency. Keep some rares, keep some crafting stuff. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you got to invest in some high-end, one-of-a-kind items, right?
Yeah, you're right.
Old skin maps, maybe alternate.
Yeah.
I found out. I have this red beak on my account from the early race seasons. Like,
given the wording, yeah, you're right. You're right.
To literally test they were working.
It wouldn't surprise me if you could somehow scale with like generic spell damage, but no, you shouldn't be able to, because it says this attack is used.
But yeah. So invest in a variety of different items in your standard portfolio if you don't want to get wrecked by economic changes.
If only I played in standard, I'd be rich. It's so good. It's interesting to see some new Vase skills. It's certainly been a while. I tried to like look up.
The skill is gonna be loved mechanically. I hope the numbers are high enough on it.
Get ready. 17 leagues ago. So powerful, longer cooldown or like ultimate skills can make gameplay quite a bit.
But this skill is going to be loved mechanically.
And a lot of people.
I might league start Volcanic Fissure.
It's certainly an underutilized skill category. Not something you add.
Okay, this spawns here. This spawns here. Why?
Skill, a Val skill, or just a regular skill that does a similar thing.
Well, if we're trying to come up with an ultimate skill, Val skills are ones that we have a
Wall Flicker Strike does not interest me at all.
Whereas regular skills, we generally don't put cooldowns on them unless there's a bypassable thing. So if it's something where there's a good cooldown bypass mechanism, then it will probably be a regular skill. Now, the thing we're doing with Val skills here is we want to buff melee. There are a number of, like, you may be thinking
60% more cleave area effect. I think that stacks the buff.
Stuff, but the changes to
Vol Cleave might make the skill viable.
Val skill stuff affects melee in a way I'll discuss in a second. There's a bunch of other bits and pieces like melee splash is being added to as a node on the passive tree, and we have some. I'm not supposed to talk about the details.
Second wind is unusable on it.
There's some totem mastery that affects melee in an interesting way. So
because second wind doesn't lower the cooldown.
Quite a cohesive set of melee buffs, but the theory with the Val ones is.
Or it does at like level 21 or 22, I guess, and quality.
Using that skill, they just do the damage.
Yeah, +1 does nothing. You don't care about that. You just want to build it faster.
Various issues. We've created a Val version, which
no, it wouldn't.
Value means that every X attack.
It wouldn't be a more multiplier unless you could regen all of the charges. No, it wouldn't. It would only be a more multiplier on the first hit, and then it would not be a more multiplier because you would have to wait longer.
Are more powerful, and so it's doing a more powerful attack sometimes.
But you don't summon 10 statues at the same time as you summon 6 statues. You have to wait 40% longer.
Gives you the regular version of the skill. Then there's no excuse not to be using Val Cleave if you were playing a cleave character. And so overall,
so you're incorrect on that one because every charge you add adds more waiting time.
It also meant
which is why the only stat you care about is the actual cooldown duration, not the max stack.
Now, when you see the patch notes in a little bit, you'll notice
At
there's a
least
small amount of
baseline.
lightning
Max
strike,
stack might be
right? You may
useful if you can
think,
get
well,
it
if we're turning
uber
off melee,
low,
what
but
are
if
we
you
doing
can't,
with the
then
lightning strike? And the
there's
answer
very
is
little
it's
value in it.
far, 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 far better than the other melee skills. And so we're buffing the category, but that doesn't mean that every skill needs to come out entirely, entirely with additional damage on it. And so you'll find that melee overall is more powerful, but within the melee category, there's quite a lot more options available than there were before.
All right. So yeah, you like file cleaves a little underutilized. +2 radius not enough.
Maybe. I don't think it has to be played like that.
Well, that'll help. should do.
Because of how the numbers work, there's no downside to spamming it.
Carry forth into Path of Exile 2 with its altered skill.
There's no buff to letting it max out stacks.
Okay.
You can, and I think you should, if you have another thing to set up. Like, I think you run this where you do one, like, buffs, like, you rotate this attack and one other attack, but you lower the cooldown enough that you max out stacks between the two skill casts. So you do, like, one utility cast and then this, and then one utility cast and then this, something like that.
A spell that shoots your bow's arrow, or attack that casts a spell that then doesn't.
But lowering cooldown is going to be very cool with it.
Is this something you're going to explore more potentially?
And it's probably going to be very good for clearing in that you run.
Path of Exile 2 skills.
You run this. Fist of War is one way to do it, but I think you run this in as your nuke skill, and then you run Cyclone, not Cyclone, Shockwave. You run Shockwave as your clear skill. You run like Cyclone Shockwave. Because Cyclone Shockwave also scales off cooldown, and both skills want a strong, hard-hitting weapon that attacks very rarely, while not being too clunky. So I think running Shockwave with it makes the most sense, because then you have a nuke button and you have clearing with Shockwave with it, which is very, very nice
within the
playstyle.
of that particular scope. But overall, in main Path of Exile, we want to make sure that the currency items have fluctuating values relative to each other. It's very important as part of.
But Slam works as well, but I don't think it's as cool.
Something like Divine Orbs that are the de facto currency for high-end trades, and adding a granular, proportional, like Divine Sense thing, is not something that we would do unless there was a good reason.
Witchbane is kind of cool.
And so we'd have no plans to add Divine Shards. We think it would potentially be negative. It's okay to use cheaper currency as the Divine Shards. Like, you can take Chaos Orbs and turn them into Divines through trade or other mechanisms. The value fluctuates, but that's what we want it to be doing.
All right.
I don't think. Yeah, I agree. Actually, yeah, it narrows build like what's it called? How you would build it, but I don't think it's awful. I think it's a little bit interesting. Yeah, Brutality Impale is definitely not on the table, which sucks. It'd probably be too broken if it was.
Asked, does Valve Flicker attack one target multiple times? So does it have like boss applications then, or is it more about pack clear?
Can hit the same target more than once, so on a boss, every single hit.
Yeah, against a single target, it will do every single hit against that target.
Very anime. Cool.
Yeah, super anime.
Okay.
It is very anime, yes.
Let's talk crafting and league mechanics a little bit. So, challenge leagues in Path of Exile have always been a place for you guys to experiment with systems. Some of them intended to go core, if they work out, for example, but otherwise, others are like never
I did
really
see the
intended
dips.
to go core, and they're just specifically for that. But
I just don't care about Flicker Strike at all.
Can give you some useful.
And mechanically, it's gonna be ass on the bosses that matter, because they don't give you time to teleport around like that without any leech or anything like that. At least in hardcore, we're probably gonna find really good use cases for it. You might use it for speed running bosses in, and then it'll be fine. But it's not something I'm gonna run on release. Might run it if people find like really clever uses for it.
More experiments to explore future design possibilities, and is crafting system something that you're keen to keep experimenting with?
That doesn't matter because it hits so many times. Did you see how it worked when you teleport around way more times, which means that you don't have leech or anything for that duration.
Dozens and dozens and dozens of systems that create both power creep and complexity creep for the way the crafting works, and that's good. Path of Exile.
I mean, I think it's cool, but I don't think it's a good mechanical ability for hardcore at all. It's garbage for it, which is fine.
And turning it off until we've had a good think about
but it's not something I'm gonna play.
Probably safer. Like, a lot of expectations with Harvest would have been reduced if we hadn't reintegrated it into the game.
It's a cool skill. It's just not for me.
Fully understood the consequences of that. And so, with the mist from...
And it's going to be very funny to see someone one-shot a boss and then go...
ways that we can bring them back.
Why would
And
you ever
we do
double 6-link
plan
it?
to continue to introduce
Oh,
systems
you mean like
this,
that?
some
Yeah,
of
yeah.
which
I'm dumb.
will,
I'm dumb.
stick around, some
You
of which
could.
won't. An
But
example
again, I
is,
don't think
Sanctum has
mechanically
relics,
it's good at
and
all
Sanctum
for
offer a lot of
survivability in
character
hardcore.
and that's a Sanctum
In
specific thing. We don't
softcore, yes,
expect
that's a
that,
viable way to do it.
Sanctified relics will necessarily exist after Sanctum is finished. Maybe we make it core.
Oh,
maybe we don't, maybe
every
we
single
keep
build is
them,
fucking
maybe we
socket starved
don't.
nowadays,
But they're
so
a thing for that league that it let you experiment with builds that you otherwise wouldn't be able to. There are a lot of things in there which let you push your build further than you normally would, and that's
what do you
something
mean
that's
use
cool
overleach?
about the Sanctum League.
Oh, you mean,
It may be that it
I
becomes a
mean,
permanent part of
yes.
later, and we are looking for ways to bring stuff back.
No,
Like, I
actually,
don't know
people
if this is
generally
actually a
don't use
thing, but
overleach.
At least in our planning.
But the thing is, you
one of
don't
the
leech
things
from the
that
attack
the
at all. You
monster
teleport
mods
around
look
and
for is, you know, how
don't
they have
deal
those special
damage.
drops that occur that
If
we
you
just
read
mentioned
how
a
it
few
works,
minutes
you
ago.
don't have
One of the
any
things that they
defenses
drop
while you are
was the
teleporting
Mist
around.
Mirrors
You have to
from
wait for it
Kalandra,
to
for
end,
example,
and
only gives
then
the
you
currency items.
then you get
Planet
it.
in a
And the
war
issue
format
is
will be
you are
able to
going to
increase
die
the
when you're just
skills and
teleporting
ability
around
boosts
in a
and
lot of
exotic
cases.
ones like that. But that's
Depends
an
on
example of us
scenario.
taking
There's
a
definitely some
system
bosses
that
where you can
was,
just do it
used as a
on
reward
some
mechanic for a
phases if
league
it's
and
worth the
making
nuke
it a rare
damage.
reward from another system in the game.
Cool. Speaking of things that potentially can come back in the future, is there any word on Ultimatum?
Ultimatum is split into two pieces. There's the boss fights with the uniques. They're back in the game, as of like last league, I think, or the one before. Time is a blur.
I feel
And
you,
then there's
Chris.
the actual automated mechanic. Now we have a plan for the automated mechanic, and we mentioned there is a plan for a while, and that plan is not due yet, but it is coming at some point until it changes. Having said that, the offer/deferral system in Sanctum does feel a lot like it. This is where we say, here is a thing, or you can keep going in order to double it, essentially, but with quite a lot more doubling going on. And so players who liked the risk of Ultimatum will certainly like that mechanic.
Interesting. Yeah, I can see the power.
They've announced that there's more Vol melee
very
skills
briefly,
coming.
just two
We
small
they
questions
just
on
haven't
Ruthless.
announced them yet.
How is the play interest
So
and
I'm
reception been to the
excited to
Ruthless
see
alpha
what
from your perspective?
The alpha testers are very positive. That's really
what
good
the
to
other
see.
ones
I'm glad
are.
to see they're enjoying it. And
Vol
hopefully
Cleave is
those who couldn't get
interesting
into
enough that I
offline
think it
who are
makes Cleave
interested in that
viable.
mode can have a chance to check it out. when
Not
it launches
for.
alongside 320.
It has to have
Is
low
Ruthless gonna be
charge
anything you
like
can choose to,
cost
like,
for it to be
balance out
viable on
skills
bosses, but
specifically?
on for
We
like
will do
mapping
some
it might be
Ruthless
really good.
specific skill balance. Currently, the focus was on getting fundamentals in place, like getting the mode to
Just because of
function,
the
and
insane
then
radius
we'll,
buff
if we
whenever you
find
kill
time
something
later,
with the
we'll
Vol
be able to use it to
version,
make whatever
if it
changes and use
transfers
those
over
as
to
new
regular
skills.
one.
And to some extent, with as you know, with the way Path of Exile works, if there's a skill that's dominant and somewhat trivializing stuff, then we won't have any qualms about ruthlessly nerfing that in that mode.
I think the
Now,
Warcry stuff is
there's
10
a
times more
fundamental
interesting than
philosophy
Melee
of
was
games, right?
before.
A player who's
I
playing the main
played
game
again. I played
will get upset if we nerf their skills. mostly
what's
because
the
it's way they like to
build
play minions. And if we just decide we hate
Earthquake
minion
for like
characters,
a year,
right, all
and
these
it's one of
people
my
who come to
favorite
Path of
builds of
Exile
all time.
enjoy playing minion characters as a reliable
But
way to
I
engage
totally
with the
get
game
why if you're
would
speed
be
gaming
upset
you
that
don't
now
like
they
it.
can't do the thing they like.
When we'll have the fight,
Ruthless, the bets are off. We will make whatever changes we feel like, and it will stay hard, and you will
Never.
like that. And you know, the Ruthless
Melee's
players are big
dead.
boys. They can
Move
deal with
on.
this. And it should be fine. So we will make some skill-specific changes, and very likely.
No, but we
those
can
changes
probably
will
have it
also
in
balance
like I
changes
guess
that we
not
do
too
in the
long.
core game. In the core game, we want
I have
make
no
sure
reason not to go to the
archetypes
next
are
local.
viable and there's good diversity and that kind of stuff. But in Ruthless, we have other objectives.
What do you mean? Earthquake
I'm
had the
gonna send you
highest
some
damage of like
categorized
any
random
build.
questions from chat now.
What do you mean?
Kyle MC asks, how does quantity? and
They
rarity
had like
affect the sentence?
insane
I'll link to
damage.
that,
You did like 5 million
someone asked,
DPS
map
in like
mods
2
don't
days
affect
of
the
playing
Sanctum, right?
with cell-found gear.
Your map mods do not affect the Sanctum. Quantity and rarity on your character will affect your drops you get from the monsters, I believe, right? There are monsters in the Sanctum that you can kill, and they drop items.
There's a
so it's
reason
not
it was
like,
the single best
the goal
gauntlet
is that
build
when
for
you're
years
mapping,
because it
doesn't
had the
reduce
highest
the number of
damage
item drops you get
by a
in
long
the
shot.
Sanctum. You do get drops.
There
and
were
those
dot
monsters are
builds
technically
that
unique
couldn't
monsters, so technically
compete,
they're
even though
reduced,
dots are mechanically
and
a
quantity
billion
rarity
times
do
better
affect that.
because
So
slams just
going
did
into
so much
Sanctum
more
to kill some
damage.
monsters is roughly similar to killing monsters on the map that you came from.
And that
plus all the
is,
Sanctum rewards on
I mean, the issue now is that that's not the case. That's why no one plays them. But before they nerfed Intimidating Cry, they did the highest damage out of any skills in the game.
You kind of that on like the first
As they should.
You start the campaign,
But now they don't, so
Yep,
they suck.
kicks in right at the beginning. So basically, you start doing your first Sanctum at level like 2 or whatever. You know, as you get into the coast, and you probably won't get very far in those Sanctum runs, but it's a good opportunity to start learning.
They won.
Start
What do
accumulating
you
some
mean?
relics
They
and so on,
won how
and
many
you'll need them because
gauntlets in
later
a
it gets
row?
really hard. There are some things in the Sanctum, like the special endgame uniques that can only be dropped if you are very high in maps, because they're very, very powerful pinnacle things. But yeah, it does play throughout the entire campaign.
Great. El Suego asks, if Soul Taker is going to be so insanely rare, what does this mean for Kingmaker, the item that you can make out of Soul Taker?
Sounds good, Gabe.
I'm just gonna smile.
Yeah, okay, Kingmaker is buffed as well for sure.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Mystery.
Maybe it's been buffed as well.
Oh,
No, I'm not talking about
something to
Sunder
be
meta.
revealed
You just
sometime
haven't been
soon,
following
Pacific.
Gauntlet at all.
Will our Star Forges or Lion Eyes Glare sitting in Standard be buffable to their Headhunter tier strengths with a Divine Orb?
Yep.
Why doesn't my I button work?
I know, it's stupid, isn't it? But we had to do that because it's fair and because of divination cards that you could have been hoarding and all the other things. So
Lighty won with
items in standard if you had diversified.
Okay, let's see here.
Standard chat trade is exploding right now.
Lighty won 3 gauntlets playing Earthquake.
That's great.
Yeah, Lighty won 3 gauntlets playing Earthquake, then
okay.
Exile won 1 gauntlet playing Earthquake, and then
unique weapons becoming more rare.
what's it called? Yeah, 4 gauntlets in a row were won by Earthquake.
Adjusting the divination cards.
Yeah, it was over a year. It was a year and a half, I think. They run a gauntlet every league, and it was 4 leagues, and there are 3 leagues a year, right?
Man with hat. Any plans to decouple melee?
So yeah, it was over a year that Earthquake was the strongest build. It was also how every single league start race was won.
Is it the case where our designers acknowledge this?
No, they lowered it.
Looking for solutions, but maybe we've doubled.
It's 4 months now.
In this one because of that.
Or I mean, they're trying 3 months, but it's been free a year this year. They're going back to doing 4 a year, but it has been free a year last year.
Lots of ultimatum questions, which we already asked. Theory Crafter and many other people ask, is Reforge keep prefix?
But that's just because delays and like COVID and everything. But yeah, the idea is to have 4 a year, but it just hasn't happened.
Aware of it coming back? No.
Because of COVID, but that is the plan. It's just that they went slower for a while.
And is there any ETA on the next mystery box release?
Mob Melee seems cool.
It's likely to be at the league launch.
What I was looking at the
Spooky asked, Chris, can you?
I was looking at various threads of it.
Historic buff to loot.
That's one.
Yeah, that's a big one.
So this is one of those tricky things where like we feel people completely misunderstood what is there, and
I did not wear this shirt yesterday.
And try to correct people, but
what I'm going through is the
left it, but.
The fucking thread ones.
If you're a regular player playing regular content,
the forums for events.
And by regular, I mean people in red maps. Then there is no loss of anything. It's better than it was before. Like Sentinel is.
Prangle was afterwards. It was the Iolite was the last one.
Doubt they weren't happy with that, so we just stopped trying to push the point.
This one, Steel Mage 1, playing what's it called? Explosive Arrow. That was the one right after all of the Earthquake ones. The issue with the Earthquake ones is that they aren't in order for some reason. And that it has a ton of people who didn't, like, Exile finished this one first, but he's not first on the list for some reason.
We tried to take from the rich and give to the poor.
But Exile won this one with Earthquake.
We didn't explain it, like, patch note it correctly. We didn't communicate about it. We didn't really understand the nature of the changes fully ourselves.
I mean, the funniest one was, yeah, every league start, while that was the case, hardcore races were won by Earthquake, like every single one.
It was frustrating for us because we felt that the
Lighty
kind of... The miscommunication is our fault, but we felt the whole situation kind of ran away and caused people to really hate the situation more than they should have
Earthquake.
done. Anyway, I think that this has taught us a lot of lessons.
It's Ben now, I forgot.
But there's no need to further improve drops related to that. The amount of currency and stuff that you're getting, and uniques, in fact, especially uniques that you're getting for regular gameplay involving a variety of different leagues does exceed what it was in 3.18. It's just that if you're playing the crazy Imperium style stuff as we described it.
No, Lighty isn't Lighty anymore, it's Ben now.
It's an intentional part of the change.
Has there been some sort of change to the way that you're like approaching the reveals and the patch noting and stuff?
He doesn't have shit from old.
Describing some things because you don't like.
Why doesn't he have anything from more than a year ago? I know he uploaded stuff back then.
There's a lot of stuff that's considered not in patch notable changes, for example. Has that changed at all over time?
historically we've tried very hard not to talk about
But
prop rate.
you can look at like any of the clips where he wins.
You know, decades, well, not decades, but more than a decade, we have followed that policy. Having said that, we should have talked about the changes to the quantity and rarity bonuses from different league content, because it does affect decisions people are making. There was stuff before that was really juicy and everyone wanted to play that, and we tried to make it more fair so the leagues were roughly equal, and that's something that should have been communicated more clearly, and we certainly learned the lesson there. And the lack of communication there was not malicious, it was entirely just like, you know, ignorance on our part. There was miscommunications internally. You know, I missed the memo almost literally, and that meant that it wasn't as much part of the marketing as it should have been. And
you know why he switched, right? You know why he switched name. He switched name because Blizzard thought it was racist to be named Darky, and then he switched to Lighty, but then there's already a Lighty in the Path of Exile community, so everyone confused them because it's spelled almost exactly the same. So he didn't want to like ruin it for that guy, so he no, but I told you, Exile won that one. That's why I said it's not in order, but Exile won this one. The one I linked. Nick Exile won this one. It doesn't look like it, because this is not in order for some reason, but Exile won the gauntlet. And that's what I said, is that's the hard part with it. But I'm going through it, and like... Steel Mage... Sis, Earthquake, fucking Gorafa, Earthquake, Steel, Earthquake, fucking everyone. This is day one though, but yeah, like that's one of them, and then this one, Iolite, was also it, I think, or they just started Detonate Dead. I don't know if this was the... Oh, no, this was the Toxic Rain one, yeah. Class Gauntlet, that was also dominated by
Really?
Earthquake.
Bro? Fucking kidding me.
Opportunity and
yeah, like, where's the...
However, the results will...
Man.
Here's the Exile one. You got so fast when you had... when you had Earthquake with Rage, you were so fast.
Aims for his last boss kill to claim the #1 spot. However,
oh yeah, it is. Like, do you understand why people would run Earthquake when everything else is more convenient? Because it deals more damage. And the thing is, it dealt more damage than dots. And that's the thing, is that it dealt way more damage than dots. And in softcore, it also dealt more damage. The issue is you don't need to deal more damage, because you can always deal enough damage in softcore. But it did just scale damage harder than everything else. Like, you went and put in one weapon in Harvest, and you had 1,000,000 DPS. That was it. You just loaded up Harvest, and you instantly had 1,000,000 DPS. And then you... spend like half a day to get an actual good weapon, and bam, you have 4 million DPS. Okay, regardless though, where's the patch notes? Patch notes, patch notes. Patch notes, GIF patch notes, new. Where's the patch notes? Yeah, but it took more time. That was the thing. It took way more time. But you can't say it did no damage. It capped out damage at around like 10 million DPS or something. And at that point, you can just have other builds that deal 10 million DPS. But it deals more damage baseline than all the other stuff. It's just you can't scale it as far as you can scale spell builds, because, you know, melee doesn't allow for that. But it dealt 10 times more damage than every single other melee build. Like, even Lightning Strike did that less damage, and that was back before the nerfs to it. Actually, it might be before the buffs up to it as well. But no, it just dealt way more damage than every other option in the category. Otherwise, it wouldn't be played. I think they did. If you'd played with it in an optimized setup, you'd probably feel it too. Like, you one-shot map bosses, it was great. And you one-shot even, like, actual bosses at some points. I remember my Berserker that had 24 million DPS with everything up, which wasn't all the time, but god, it felt good. Okay, I like how we have crashed the Path of Exile server, the Path of Exile site. Oh no. Oh no, did anyone catch it? Did anyone catch it? Any paste bins? No, it's never worth stacking stun on Earthquake. You just killed everything. Stun was worthless on it pretty much. It also didn't have a good, like, a good enough stun, like, modifier to be worth scaling. Cloudflare. Oh, we got in! Yes! Yes. Yes. But first of all, I'm gonna check skills first. I wanna check skill first. Wait. Actually, no, we're doing it in order. But this is bad. This is very bad that they are naming skills in general like this. Why are they naming skills in general? Are these all the skills that they are touching? That is not a good look at all. Yeah. That's very bad. That is not good for the meta shakeup gang. Add a new optional game mode. Add a new strength intelligent gem. This spell consumes multiple cooldown. Summon icy statues. Can't be triggered. Yeah. Mechanic Fixture. Cursed Ground. Hex Bloom or Transformers. Okay. If this distance is large enough, there's potential here. 8 new wall skill gems. Cleave, Flicker Strike, Blade Flurry, I'm hype. Venom Gyre, I'm very hype. Ball Molten Strike. This has to be amazing. This has to be amazing. Ball Caustic Arrow. Okay. My favorite skill in the game because of how ridiculously simple it is and consistent it is. It just hasn't dealt enough damage. You better be fucking good if you're a Vol Caustic Arrow. Vol Volcanic Fissure and Vol Smite. Okay, this one has potential to be really good as well. Regular Smite is already interesting. Vol Smite could be anything. Fracturing Orb. That's cool. Fracturing Shard. Okay, nice. I like that they added a shard to it. Oh, they misspoke. They said 50 unique items in the patch notes. I'm happy it's only 15. I guess I'm not happy, but I was very surprised that it was 50. 10 div cards, 2 Atlas memories. Calandra's Touch is what? Oh, they added this one. That's cool. That's cool. I like that that's in the main game. I don't think div cards are overrated as an SSF player, but they are not super exciting. Depends on what the div cards are. We know this. Okay, they've been added back. Academy, I hate that map. Bazaar, I hate that map. Burial Chambers, I like that map. Cage, I hate that map. Channel, I like. City Squares, like. Courthouse, like. Courtyard, meh. Coves, like. Estuary, hate. Forbidden Woods, meh. Graveyard, meh. No, actually, Graveyard, like. Haunted Mansion, meh. Iceberg, really like. Infested Valley, like. Ivory Temple, like. Lookout, hate. Mineral Pools, hate. Primordial Blocks, meh. Sepulcher, hate. Shipyard, meh. Actually, I like. Which one is this? I don't remember if it's the linear one or the non-linear one. If it's the linear one, it's like. If not, it's meh. Spider Lair, meh. Sunken City, hate. Toxic Sewer, love. Volcano, like. Arena, hate. Arid Lake, pain. Armory, hate. Barrows, hate. Soft, Bramble Valley, sells. Okay, Chateau's a first decent one. Dig Excavate. Fungal Hollow is sad to be gone. That one's nice. Jungle Valley, sad. Lava Chamber, Marshes. Okay, Mudgazer, sad. Park, sad. Pen, meh. Racecourse, sad. Ramparts, Waste Pool, Waterways, that's sad. And Wharf. Okay, these two are sad. Okay, it's not nearly as... Like, I think this is a net good one. This is a net good one. We like this a lot. There are more good maps added back than maps are gone. I'm looking over the patch notes for the new expansion of Path of Exile that is coming out in next Friday. Map tiers have been shuffled. Changed. Yeah, crafting recipes have been removed. Div cards have new homes. Okay, buried treasure can be found in the grotto. Grift of Asenath can be found in grotto. Okay, these two are big. The Estet can be found in Carcass. Endurance is so useless. Why can everything be found in grotto? Mind's Eye, Mountain. The Nurse is in Carcass. Okay. Offering is in Carcass. Wolf is in grotto. Wolverine in Lair. Why is everything in grotto? Literally every fucking... This has to be a mistake. Why is every single divination card in grotto? Note in the Wind being back is really nice. We already know all the stuff about the mods. We already know all the stuff about the Eldritch Altars. We know the stuff about the... But we didn't get numbers. These have specifics on them. That's useful. 30 to 35 is pretty generous. 20 to 25 on corruptions is very good. Like, if you have 2 jewels, perfect, with 35 and 25 on... Actually, no, you don't even need that. You need 15. Yeah, you have any two jewels that rolled both a suffix and a corrupted ignite duration. Then you need 3 jewels in total to become completely immune. That's going to be really hard to do, but with the new unique jewel, that's pretty cool that you only need 3 in order to get completely immune to every single ailment. There's an extension. Relish, there's an extension that does that for you. It's called like the PoE wiki extension. It does that for you. I have it. It's not in my toolbar though, but yeah, there's an extension that does exactly that for you. So just Google that and you can find one that makes it so every old wiki link links to the new one instead. Increase. Okay, cool. We rebalanced some unique jewels and compensated for loss in the form of new modifiers or skill changes. Added for Spark and Ethereal Knights that causes... Oh, that's an Eternal Labyrinth thing? Okay. Frostblades has a fuck ton more damage scaling. I guess. And no other changes. Cool. Why is this here? Because of the... But you didn't give it a pen or anything. You just added the base that... Okay, sure, I guess. 20 instead of 12 is a pretty good buff. We'll see, we'll see. But yeah, it is probably a nerf overall. The Pure Talent Unique Jewel now provides melee skills have... 25% is not bad. That's pretty nice. 2 to 3% mana reservation efficiency is higher than I thought. I thought it would only go up to 2. Having it be free is pretty nice. 6 to 10 flask effect duration. Okay, you can get an auto flasker Scion way easier now. It's honestly not that hard to get an auto flasker Scion. Curses, we've also seen. Specifics. Hexblast no longer has any Doom-related stats. It now has a cast time of 1 second. Okay. And a mana cost of 16. Ooh, okay. It now deals less damage. And less damage. 100% more damage is a big modifier. 60% more ailment. It's added to its cooldown if... that's fine. Ooh, okay. Cast on crit Hexblast is gonna be really weird to build. You probably still can, but it's gonna be really weird to build. Moves a Hex after damaging. These... yeah, okay. This is fine. That's fine. I think Hexblast is very much still alive and still very good. It's probably very league startable. Doomblast is very cool. Wait. Where did you see that? Where's the Profane Bloom? Whisper of Doom, can I just select... not so much lower selection small... oh, I see, that's cool. 2 to level of all curse skill gems. Oh! This is actually really, really strong. Yeah, don't spoil shit, okay? I want to get to it myself. So, until I get to it, don't type stuff, okay? I'm not doing anything for Veil of the Night. Refresh duration of Ignite. Enemies are cursed. Oh, refresh duration is... oh, it's only on non-cursed. Oof. Wait, but if you only have 1 curse, if you... oh, okay. This means you have infinite ignites. But this is so weird. This is like probably strong in like a very hyper-specific build. But it's not very... and how does this remove... very meh. It's interesting, but probably pretty weak. Either this is broken or it's really weak. I don't know which. The last rights normally get currently destroyed. Okay. Okay. This is very, very nice. This is very nice. 20% mana efficiency, reduce mana cost. Okay. Whatever, it's fine. Reduce effect of curse on you, increase effect of your curses. Six to 7% chance to block spell damage is not bad. That's pretty fucking strong. 6 to 7% is a lot. For people, there are builds that have wanted to run non, like, what's the name? Gladiator? Or not Gladiator, but the node on the tree. And this might let some niche builds do that without feeling too ass. Glancing Blows. No, I'm not talking Glancing Blows. I'm talking about the other one that converts... that caps you at 50 on both regular block and spell block, but converts regular block to spell block. Whatever the fuck that's called. I'm gonna load up half a building, I guess. I was not talking glancing. Versatile combat. Yes, versatile combat. Yes, exactly. I think it's combatant, but I might be wrong. But yeah, exactly. You can run block without running that, probably. On some stuff. Doomblast has a ridiculously high damage effectiveness, which might be fun to play around with. Cosper's Will unique body armor has higher evasion rating and always poison on hit against cursed enemies. Okay, so it went from a dead stat to a pretty useful stat. It also has 31 to 50 free chaos resistance. Okay, this unique armor is almost usable. I still would never want to run it. Maybe. I would hate running it, but I might actually run it now. This is like good. It's to the point that it might be viable even like end game, super end game. Curse enemies with hit you with a random hex. Yeah, I know it used to be meta. It's just that body armors used to be weaker than they are now by like a lot. They are pretty strong right now. But this is a good enough buff that especially in SSF, I would be happy to play this. I would not mind. The Felbog Fang unique amulet now causes enemies cursed by you to be hindered with 30% reduced movement speed if 25% of curse duration expired. And enemies cursed by you to take... Oh yeah, this is that one. Ugh. Oof. Ugh. Ugly amulet. I don't like the mechanic of that one. Hex Touch. 35% less effective curses at all gem levels. Reduced duration at gem level 1. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Duration doesn't matter on Hex Touch pretty much. Especially if it goes to 30. This is not a big problem. Depends on how big the 35% less effect is. That might feel awful. It might not. I hope Blasphemy doesn't have something similar. Awakened is the same. Wait, does it only get... Oh, Awakened Hex Touch gives something else? Awakened Hex Touch. Doesn't it give something else? Level to super... Okay, okay. It gives +1 level still. Okay. I was like, is there really no difference here? Makes sense, makes sense. So you get +1 level. Blasphemy has 25% less effective curses. Ugh. That's ugly. Okay, that's actually ugly. Not sure I like that. You already pay for it with the mana. If it was like 10-15%, it'd be fine, but 25% a full quarter when you also pay for it with your mana is pretty bad. 25% on Bane, I guess, is fine, given how that works mechanically. This is a Soul Mantle buff. Wow. This is a pretty fucking big Soul Mantle buff, I guess. Cool. Oh, they kept the better... wait. Does that mean you can't get curse on hit stuff before level 80? That's annoying. Makes sense, but it's annoying. I read this wrong. Uh... 10%, yeah, okay. Qualt and Divergent, I don't care. Elemental Weakness now curses enemies to have -15 to elemental resistance, up to -30. This is such a smaller nerf than I thought. -30 with 0 downside on bosses. This is so fucking big on bosses. Like, Elemental Weakness is went from a shit, like, unusable thing to bosses to, like, actually being insane on pinnacle bosses. This is such a huge buff. $36 on the specialty ones on bosses. This is such a huge buff to curses. Like, these curses are all fucking insane on bosses. You might actually want to self-cast them. Temp Chains gets an 8-second duration, okay. I guess. Self-curse? Pog? Buff? Maybe? These are still pretty okay numbers. You might actually want to play, like, build Curse Effect now, which you very rarely wanted to before. Like, getting a decent amount with some of the less nerfed ones might actually be decent. Lord of Drought, your flammability curse can affect hexproof, 30% increased ignite damage against... This is so much worse than what they said it was. They said this was ignites deal damage faster against cursed enemies, which is very different from this stat. This stat is so much worse. It's like not garbage, but it was gonna be so strong before. Shock effect is decent. Huh? What? What do you mean? Well, oh, it's only if you kill it. Okay, so you won't have this on bosses, basically. Okay, this is not that strong. This is very nice for mapping, I guess. Okay, it's less good than I thought. 2% recover on energy shield, 2% life. You have Calling Strike against cursed enemies. Enemies you cursed are unnerved. Increased crit strike chance. Okay, they're interesting and they're not insanely weak. I can see them being used. I'm decently happy with that. I hope they were gonna be slightly stronger than they are. But they aren't awful. How much to do? Fight Uber Exarch on the boss? On the box? In hardcore, you'd have to pay me a lot for it. In softcore, I'd do it any day of the week. As soon as I can bind the movement keys. I have to bind the mouse to like WASD and then click like on A or something. That would be very hard to do. Curse effect. What's my prediction? Yeah. Slight buff. Yeah, okay. Occultist is fine, slightly weaker, but fine. Yes, you can make bosses go below 0 to minus a lot. There's a really good helmet that is only gimped by... that is only gimped by the fact that it has a low, like, AoE. That helps you do that, and it helps you do it really fucking well. It's arguably one of the strongest helmets in the game, except the fact that the AoE is way too small for it to be useful, or like super useful. If it was like screen wide, it'd be the strongest unique for bossing in the game, I think. Nearby enemies have 50% increased fire and cold resistances. This increases negative resistances. So if they have minus 50, they now have minus 75 resistances, and so on and so forth. So the more you scale them into negative resistances, the better this is. Where if you have minus 100, it's 150 now, and so on. So it's a multiplier to how negative the resistances are as soon as you get them in the negatives. So if this had a good AoE, it'd be good. However, the radius is 30, and 30 radius is here. You are looking at this line from the character. So you have to be melee, which is not good. But if that was like screen wide, it'd be insanely strong. And I've been playing Path of Exile since 2012 in the closed beta. So yeah, I've been playing every league since then pretty much. I skipped last one because I was in the US, but I have like probably over 10k hours in the game. Something like that. I did the math and it came out to like definitely around there. Probably higher, but I'm not sure because I haven't played as much the recent leagues, so I don't feel confident making a like assertion on that, but it's definitely around 10k or higher. Do you ever find a mirror? No, I wish I had. I have not found a mirror. Mirrors are too fucking rare. If I find a mirror, oh boy, I'll be happy, but I've never found a mirror. It'll make temporal chains and enfeeble strong defense options. Okay, so how have they changed them? If you haven't Omega nerfed them, these two gems are insanely strong. Okay, let's read. 15% less damage is still very good. 30... 29%. 18% against bosses. This okay. And Feeble is a fucking what's it called? They're a fucking fortify on you. Oh boy. And you can scale curse effect on it. Okay, and Feeble is really strong. Yeah, I think the recent ones have had really obvious oversights as well. I think the most recent ones that I missed have been really good. But the ones before have not. Let me check the leagues. League Path of Exile. Expedition, I think, had a decent amount of them. Ultimatum was like overtuned, but fine. Ritual was fucked on release. Heist was fucked on release. Harvest was fucked on no, Harvest was... Yeah, Harvest was just a fucked league, but it wasn't that fucked on release. Calandra was fine. Sentinel was fine. Arch Nemesis League was kind of fucked. Scourge League was kind of fucked, but not that much. But yeah, Expedition League was like... where they... Yeah, I guess these four have been better. No, I think they've been fucked the entire time. My argument is that they aren't getting that much better. They, like, every league has been fucked in some way. I think Heist specifically is a huge outlier, but I think almost every league has been fucked. They were fucked back then, and they're fucked back now. I don't think they've improved that much in terms of how they do things differently. I think Calandra and Sentinel were, like, clearly better than the other ones. But Heist was fucked. Harvest was decent. Delirium, I remember being fucked. Metamorph was omega fucked, but that was balancing more so than anything else. Blight was fucked. Legion was fucked. Synthesis was fucked, but then okay. Betrayal was surprisingly okay. Betrayal League was surprisingly okay. Delve League was also surprisingly okay. It had, like, game-breaking, like, crashes day 1 and 2, but then it was really good. Incursion was... not that fucked. Bestiary was fucked. Abyss was fucked. Harbinger was fucked. Legacy was not fucked, but there was literally nothing new there. Breach was fucked. Essence was okay. Prophecy was fucked. Parandus was flawless. There was, like, no bugs or glitches or anything with Parandus. It was great. Parandus was amazing. Talisman was fucked. Tempest was okay. Warbands was okay. Bloodlines was okay. Beyond was... Torment and Beyond were okay. We've gotten to the point where the leagues basically did nothing, so that makes sense that they're okay, because, you know, hello, nothing was added. But yeah, no. Lab was not fucked. Lab was hard. Lab was not fucked. There was, like, very few glitches and shit for Lab. Like, you could run... Like, day 1, I ran Lab, and it was hard, but... that is not the same as being fucked, like, design-wise, or anything. Like, I think original release Lab was really fun. I had 10 times more fun with that than anything else. I never ran into those layouts, and I played from release, so I guess I just got lucky. But I actually, like... I can remember, like, once or twice where I ran into, like, a bricked path, but you can usually leap slam or flame dash over them. But I personally, like, never ran into those. Compared to Heist, where you got it every single day of every... Like, you ran one and you got one. Like, like Heist was a billion times more fucked. And yeah, Path of Exile is also one of the games that... It's like one of the only games that scratches that itch for me. I'm very much in the same boat as you, Matt, where it is just the game for me in that sense. And Feeble now curses them to 18%, which is so good. This is such a ridiculously high number, given that curse effect is still in the game. Like, playing curse characters in hardcore is probably gonna be meta. Because this is such a ridiculously high number. And this is still also very fucking high. Like, this did not get nerfed, basically. And Feeble is so ridiculous now. Running a Blasphemy and Feeble is like the best defensive aura. Even with the 25%. Because you're getting like 13% less damage taken from bosses. And you're getting like 20% less damage from regular mobs on a Blasphemy. That's really stupidly good. Like, absurdly good. So Enfeeble is back in the meta, baby. Temp Chains. Oh yeah, you're right. Well, no, because less damage taken. No. They scale. It scales exactly the same way. They scale exactly the same way. They all multiply with each other. Every source of less damage taken multiplies with each other. No. It's not additive. It's not. It's never additive with any other source. They are all multiplicative with each other. They are additive with the same source, but every single less damage taken is multiplicative with every other more damage and less damage taken. They are never additive with each other. Otherwise, you could go immortal super easily, and you can't. Fortify does not add to any other less damage taken. They are all multiplicative with each other. That is a universal rule in the game. Look it up. I'm 1,000,000,000% sure on that. That was very integral to building characters for Gauntlet. Otherwise, stuff like Arctic Armor and shit would be run, but it's not, because it's multiplicative to everything else. So, yeah. That's also why stacking Fortify was so much better than anything else, because then you add, like, it's additive with itself. So having a 40% Fortify is a lot better than having two different 20% Fortifies. If you have two different 20% less damage takens, it's way less good than having one 40% less damage taken. So it scales the exact same way here. Quality on anomalous temporal... temporal chain that causes... Curse normal and magic enemies to have 15% less action speed at gem level 1, previously 20. That's not a bad nerf. 29 unchanged? They didn't nerf temp chains? And it was already broken for regular mobs? Okay, curses are so broken this league. You're not touching it except if you scale it with curse effect? Bro, curses are so broken. 20% on, or 18% at 20? Oh, shit! These two curses are gonna be so meta for hardcore. Okay, these two have me really excited. That's an insane defensive layer. I'm not sure we need it, but we'll take it. We will take it, baby. Maybe Occultist like Cold Dot is meta for hardcore start, just because of how good it is for curses. Even with the change to Occultist. Ailments inflict on curse enemies deal. Now as curse enemies take 15% increased fist damage up to 30%, previously 39, 25%. Okay, so it's like technically, like, this thing about it dealing damage faster didn't work anyway. They mentioned that, so that's not a nerf. So it lost 4% and got 5% chance to bleed. Okay, not exciting. No longer adds damage. And now curse is going to take chaos resist up to 30. Okay, despair got nerfed harder. That's fair. Let's get into the unique weapons. I am so excited. These are gonna be so fun. At Series Disfavor, no longer has +2 to level of socketed support gems. Existing versions of this unique are unaffected. It now has a lot more physical damage. 10 to weapon range! My Cyclone Dream! Whoo! +10 to weapon range. Okay, Cyclone is back on the menu, baby. Let's go. It's still not gonna deal enough damage for endgame stuff, but the clear is gonna feel really good for 2 seconds. Woo! Okay, it's not that exciting, but it max range. If they buff Cyclone damage a little bit, max range. Ooh, that feels good. Woo! Mapping with that would be very fun. Spin to win, baby. And now it's adds 140 to 200 fist. That's a lot. Existing works. Okay, sure. Yes, 30% is also insane. There are less egregious ones now, but it's insane. Oh, Bloodseeker is one of my favorites. I don't know what this means in terms of damage. I don't think it makes it good, but it doesn't have to be good. It just has to be not unbelievably shit. But Bloodseeker is kind of cool. There might, if it's... Who am I kidding? This is not enough to make it viable. Which is good. Because Bloodseeker is fucking broken if you make it viable damage-wise. If Bloodseeker is viable damage-wise, everyone should run Bloodseeker, because it's fucking broken. For reference, Bloodseeker gives you instant leech. So this is old Volpact. That's what it does. It gives you instant leech. So if it was viable damage-wise, then it would be fucking broken. Divinarius unique dagger now has 100 to 150 increased spell damage, okay. A lot of gain when you kill. 200 to 250 increased critical strike chance for spells if you killed recently. And 60 to 100... Okay. Divinarius is a cool unique again. I can't believe I'm saying this in 2022. Divinarius is not a shit tier drop that you get 8 of and you hate every one of them. It's actually viable and probably pretty good when you start mapping at least. Essentia Sanguis Unique Claw no longer has Fizz or 50% reduced max recovery. So it now adds a lot of lightning. That is... okay. This is fucking broken. If this drops for me, I am... like, it's not that it's a lot of lightning. I mean, it is a lot of lightning. But it's the fact that it's a viable amount of lightning. But that's not what matters. It's this part. This part here is what really matters. This went from, like, meh to absurd. Because now you have perfect overleech on energy shield without pathing to it from anywhere. This unlocks a lot of cool melee and, melee, attack-based, at least, claw builds for energy shield. Like, if they buff energy shield a little bit in some other ways, this is, like, absurdly strong now. Like, I think this is an insane item, which is what it should be. It's at least a very interesting item. We'll see if anyone runs it later on, but I think it's a very cool item. Now, I don't tend to value regen that much, but Overleech on a single weapon that's viable is strong. Very strong. If they don't, okay, good point. If they don't nerf, what's the word? Nightblade, this is very exciting. Except, does it have crit? It doesn't have crit, but okay, that's fine. It's not that amazing for Nightblade. Kingmaker Unique Axe now has a fuck ton of fist damage. Cool, I guess. No other changes. Kitava Feast Unique Axe is now supported. Bro, wait. Kitava Feast. Was this like 20 and then 25 and then now 30? No, it's always been... Yeah, it's always been 25. Okay, it's always been 25. Fair enough. I thought that they just upped it by 5 every time. Sure, still kind of not exciting. Lionized Glare is now an actual usable bow. That's very cool. Marahi Eriki got buffed for the 700th time and it's still not viable. Saver Unique is still the best item for melee in the game, but now by a little bit more of a margin. Soul Taker is now viable. Starforge is now viable. Varnustra. Is that enough? That might not be enough. That's not a big change. Actually, it has a fuck ton of added fizz. It might be enough. That might be viable again. Okay, get out of here. Get out of here. This might make it viable again. This item is so cool, so I'm very happy if that makes it viable. Void Forge no longer has increased fizz. Existing version unaffected. Gain 700% of fizz. Okay. 700%? That's a lot of damage. That right there is a lot of damage. Okay. I kind of like this. I think this is a cool weapon. It kind of fucked up my voice. I'm very sorry. I'm just talking like this now. Oh my god. That is big. Voltaxic Rift viable again? Okay. Voltaxic Rift viable again. I'm hype as fuck. And it actually looks good. Voltaxic Rift gamers, I'm so down. Let's be a Voltaxic Rift gamer. Imagine doing a Battle Mage Voltaxic Rift character. That looks cool. I'm down. Oh, cool. There's a Pantheon to reduce life regeneration, so you don't get the stupid thing where you just have unkillable monsters. I'm down. Strike skills and additional enemies. Most strike skills are currently reliant on ways to strike extra targets and or deal splash damage in order to compete with other builds when clearing groups of enemies. Add melee splash access to the passive skill tree and move the single additional strike there to the attack mastery instead of a specific node. Yes! You can play strike skills without feeling like fucking ass now? Oh boy, I'm happy. And you have melee splash on it. Okay. Maybe for the first time ever, in like years, I play a strike skill. Maybe there's a chance I play a strike skill. Probably not though, I'm be real. Depends on if they're buffed in other ways. Recovery provided by consecrated ground. No! 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 But this was so much regen. Okay, I hate you. I hate you. I hate you with every fiber of my being. This was so sick though. Man. Fuck you. My favorite node in the game, and it's been nerfed 4 times. Yes, agreed. Okay, good. Spectral Helix is no longer insanely meta and defining for everything. Lightning Conduit got nerfed. Okay, a 20% nerf-ish. That's fine. Lightning Strike, overperforming. Oh, okay. Lightning Strike is no longer insane, I guess. Okay. This is gonna be really fucking annoying. I guess Lightning Strike is dead, or you build like a ton of extra stats to make it viable. That's fair. Buff effect now applied to Onslaught. Ooh! Huh! Okay, Silver Flask back in, baby. Auto Flaskers back in. A Scion Auto Flasker looks way easier to build now with the stronger Flask nodes as well, and Flask mods on Jewels. I'm super down. 10% duration on Jewels, and this. You can build an Auto Flasker Scion super easily. Question is, do you have a good complementary damage dealing skill? Good question, but if you do, then and it's viable, then this is gonna be one of the nicest builds in the game. Well, you have access to both on the tree now, whereas before you only had access to one. I mean, it doesn't really matter that much, and I think Lightning Strike probably still wants the gem. Or actually, no, it never wanted the gem. Maybe, I don't know. Yeah, it's probably better. I don't think it compensates for the nerf. There's no way it does, given that you need to scale so many projectiles. Ichimonji? Yeah, sure. Normally you have to wait for elusive to gradually lose effectiveness. Redoing step can no longer be used while already elusive. Okay. Huh. That's a very interesting laser surgical nerf that is kind of cool and also sucks. No, the thing is, you need to build you need to get the projectiles. It compensates for it damage-wise, but it doesn't compensate for it clear speed-wise, which means that now you actually have to invest in clear speed at the cost of single target. So it's probably not very good in that sense. Yes, I have played Path of Exile since 2012, closed beta, and I play basically every league. But yeah, damage-wise you can compensate for sure. But now it's no longer the best clear and the best damage for, like, free, easy. Oh! Tainted Orbs of Fusing are not garbage anymore. We like this. Tainted Orbs of Fusing are now the single most exciting orb in the game again. Thank God. It's the only reason to run Beyond whatsoever. Okay. Fracturing Orb is very cool. Cool, this is fine. Bestiary in party play. Okay. QX complete the map is a bit too generous in the unique maps it offered, with some more rare uniques mapping over more frequently than it should. Okay. Sure. Oh, this is a very fun. This is a very fun solution. I like this. They drop identified, sure. Oh, nice. Thank you. Less of this. I never ever did this, but it is very jarring every time. Boiling ambushers. Bone prison skill use when it now has a small gap you can run through. Okay. Went down. Okay. This is very big. I play hardcore solo self-found personally. I don't think anyone else in chat does, but I am a hardcore solo self-found gamer. Every league. These kind of suck, but it's good for Fortune Favors the Brave. So I might just be a Fortune Favors the Brave gamer this league. Might play Volcanic Fissure depending on some other stuff. Or Frozen Legion looks the most fun. That's fair. I hate trade, so that's part of it. And then I started with hardcore, and I've been playing hardcore ever since, so it doesn't feel natural to play softcore. I've tried for like a league, and I was like, this is the most boring thing imaginable to me. I'm just too wired for hardcore. We saw all this before. That's cool. Only offer base types that have unique versions. Also, I hate to say it. Somehow Seismic Trap avoided all nerfs. How the fuck is that possible? How is Seismic not touched? Again. I mean, it got touched last time, but Seismic's not touched. What else isn't touched that's very, very strong? Lightning Conduit got destroyed. Lightning Strike's pretty destroyed. What's the other, like, top? Are we all Bone Shatter gamers now? Is that what it is? I mean, Vortex and looks very satisfying. Spectral Helix got fucked, which I'm very happy with. Righteous Fire is very exciting. Righteous Fire is very exciting this league. Did not get touched negatively at all, and all your curses are way, way, way stronger. Which is the only issue it has is like damage against bosses, kind of, and that's alleviated slightly. So Righteous Fire was already very strong, and I think it's stronger now. Hex Blast is probably buffed overall. Vortex is probably buffed overall. Spark is nerfed a little bit. Yeah, I'm excited. Righteous Fire looks very good. I might play Righteous Fire. Only that had unique rogue can now offer items of any natural dropped weapon, armor, or jubilee based type. Okay. To go negative, which could cause skills to act as a player had more charges than they actually did. Yes, but sorry. Oh yeah, this was broken. This was in for a little bit and it was completely broken. What an interesting way to self-curse. This is... I don't think this was ever found, but this would have been an insane way to self-curse you. Huh? Ha! So curse on hit was 50% weaker than it should be. Okay. That's very funny. I'm surprised it was never caught. I'm surprised no one pointed it out. I guess people don't use curse on hit temporal chains anyway. They always use like yeah, like that's not very common at all. So that makes sense. Not a very popular way to apply it, and it still won't be, I don't think. I wonder if this applied to Bane. Yes, that should apply on temp chains on gloves. And it should also apply on Bane, I think. That's very funny. Yeah, that's fair. That sucks. Yeah, now that's a buff. Poison Spark is buffed. Huh. That also counted as a buff for some reason. Why? We don't know. But it was. Okay. Why was Vol Cold Snap a buff? Oh, because of the frenzy swing. Okay, okay, I can see how this happens. I can see how this happens. That sucks, but I can see why that happens. When is this? This is relevant for ED, I guess. Essence Drain. And, like, one other skill, I guess. I forget the name of it. So, the other one that fires, like, Chaos. Damage short time projectile. And I guess for Ignite, stuff like Explosive Arrow. Oh no, that was AoE, that wasn't projectile. Burning Arrow, I guess. Yes, I scooped up the wings. I have the wings. Duration of bleeding or poison. Ha! That's so sad. Ailments deal damage faster, lower the duration of poisons. That's so dumb. Huh? Negative? How do you even get negative values of damage conversion? Oh, because of the rings in Calandra. Huh. Oh, so you got more damage instead? That's so silly. There must be like one guy who had 2 rings equipped with like 30% conversion reflected, so it was negative, and then he's just chilling there going like, yeah, I have 60% more damage on my ring. And didn't tell anyone. Yes, I hate this. I'm so happy that this is... I'm so happy that this is fixed. This was so fucking annoying. Because you had Resolute Technique and you still felt like you didn't have Resolute Technique. This is huge. There are some skills where this is fucking massive. Oh, that's so nice. This is too big brain for me to understand, so I'm skipping it. This is just a visual error. Okay. Okay. This is a funny one. Battle Mage Cry was missing the trigger tag. Okay. Imagine this. Imagine running into the Infinite Hunger and he just shoots out skills while submerged and you're like, what the fuck is going on? That's never happened to me, but that must be the most terrifying boss fight. Fixed a bug where some bosses, most notably the Elder, could not be killed if the player had a stat that caused a percentage of damage dealt to be leached by the enemy's life. Oh, because he's perma-leeching, so he never actually... That's so funny. Ugh. They don't have the additional random modifiers they should have. Innocence beam debuff could... if you perform an in-area transition while being hit by the beam. Okay. Sure. Oh yeah, this fucking destroyed minions. This just insta-killed minions every time. That's very silly. Okay, okay. Weird bug. Oh, I'd never realized this. This is just a communication thing. I never realized this. That's fun. Huh? Never seen this before. I think the old spike point query was weaker anyway. I wonder if anyone does this quest and realizes the discrepancy. I mean, I've done the quest, but I've never looked at the value and realized it was lower than it should be. Fixed a bug where it was possible to die in your hideout by being linked to a minion when the minion expired. Oh, get absolutely fucked when this happens. You play hardcore, you try it out, and you insta die. I've never seen that happen. Oh, I had this happen to me. I've had this happen to me where they just T-pose. Why would... Okay, sure. So this is just microtransaction stuff. Okay, so I'm very sad that there's no big meta shakeup. They nerfed some stuff, but they didn't buff like... They didn't really buff any skills that in exciting ways, except for the new Vol skills that we don't know enough about to tell how good they are. I mean, they buffed curse stuff, which is huge, and will naturally shift the meta as a result of that, but I wish there was more direct buffs and nerfs to skills. There's been too many patches with similar metas, and that won't change now. I mean, they didn't even nerf fucking Nightblade. But I guess that's fine since they nerfed the 2 skills that abuse it. Spectral Helix was the strongest melee skill in the game, and strongest attack skill in the game by like a lot. And I agree that other skills should be brought up to match it, or like get up there, but like Spectral Helix was absurd. No, it was not shit. It was the racing skill this league for a reason, because the thing with it is, you know how it interacts with less projectile speed, right? That's what made it broken. No. The best builds for like Gauntlet and shit that have to stack defenses ran it without Nightblade, actually. Because the way it stacks with less projectile speed was so broken for bossing. So you just ran increased projectile speed for mapping, and it's still bad mapping. It still feels like ass. But no, Bone Shatter was weaker than Spectral Helix. Yeah, Carve mains Bone Shatter. He just only plays Bone Shatter. That's all he does. But yeah, no, Spectral Helix with less projectile speed was just like a 20 times stronger skill in damage numbers than every other skill in the game. Which is very silly. And it still is, but now it's unplayable unless you do that, and then it's unplayable for mapping. So, you know, nice. Unplayable is a strong word, but it's heavily nerfed. How nerfed is it? It's like a little bit more than 1/3. It's like 2/5 nerfed. And that's a lot. That's very fucking big. It deserves it though. I mean, it was way too strong. But yeah, we'll see. I'm interested to see the Vol gems we haven't seen yet. I'm very interested in them. Vol Blade Fury is very interesting. Vol Venom Gyre is also interesting. Vol Caustic Arrow is super interesting. Yeah, I agree. I think other skills should have been buffed. I think that's the main thing looking. Yeah, I agree. I love Shockwave, and there's a chance I play a Shockwave build, and that I'd play Frozen Legion. I'd play Frozen Legion and then stack cooldown reduction, and then use Shockwave for clearing. You know, you Cyclone around Shockwave, and then you have double 6 link, and then you run Frozen Legion on the other one. So you kill them with Frozen Legion, and then Shockwave while, you know, mapping. So you just run both, and that's probably a fun way to play. And, you know, whenever you don't use one, you stack up charges of the other one. So I think that would be a cool way to play. That's one thing I'm considering. But then I'm also considering, if Vol Caustic Arrow is a nuke in terms of damage, then Caustic Arrow is the best skill in the game. The main thing it lacks is that it's really fucking annoying to kill bosses with, but Vol skills are fine for bossing now because of how the charge generation works. So if Vol Caustic Arrow is enough of a nuke, then it's probably fine for bossing, in which case it's now the best skill because it has the best quality of life. I mean, Caustic Arrow has for ages been the best, or like one of the best clearing skills in terms of how easy it is to get running and how big everything about it is. The issue is that it sucks for single target. It's garbage for single target. But if Vol Caustic Arrow solves that, then that's hype. Volcanic Fissure, we don't know enough about, but I mean, I'm hype. I like melee skills. I like good melee skills. I'm probably gonna try it. Vol Smite, also very hype, because regular Smite is hype. Let's see what the subreddit is saying. Yeah, teleports behind you. Who had Starforge plus Mage Blood Cleave for top 20 for free 20 meta? Yeah, good question. Not me. I don't think Toxic Rain is strong enough for me anymore. I played it in Gauntlet and I loved it, but it's been nerfed too much for me to enjoy it that much. It's just it's a more clunky experience. I think if you juice it in softcore to get like high enough damage, it's very fun, but I don't have the currency to do it, so I will not be doing that in hardcore SSF. But in trade, I can see it being fun. But then again, why would you play that if if Caustic Arrow is good, because Caustic Arrow is just so fun. Where is it? Oh, you played as poison now? That's tragic. But it used to be very fun with Caustic Arrow. 3.18 kind of sucks. Yeah, that's sad. It has not kept up with the damage, but in terms of clear speed, it's been fun. It's just you don't kill stuff. This is very funny to see. He's just taking the damage, and he's just like, yeah, I'm not dealing any damage. It sucks. Maybe Vol Caustic Arrow solves that, maybe not. I want to be given the option to trash talk them when they brick their item with a Vol Orb, but please do. We need that too.
Come on, just hit me with it.
Yo, Banger, thank you for the raid. I appreciate that. But just so you're aware, we are not meleeing right now. But I appreciate that. Banger raid. I was looking over the new Path of Exile expansion, and now I'm reading the like community reply, and this is what I'm sad about. I will personally be ass blasting with wall cleave. Same. I mean, they nerfed a lot of stuff, but like, I think you just roll... you just roll Righteous Fire, I think. I think that's the play. I mean, this is fine. This is a very... like, RF is still extremely easy to run. Yeah, I'm disappointed that there's not that many skill shakeups, but the new skills should compensate in that I am super excited to try out the new skills and run like the Vol versions of the old skills. So even though there's not a meta shakeup, I'm probably gonna enjoy this for, if they're viable at least, I'm gonna enjoy it for quite a while, I think. But I'm definitely a little bit disappointed that there wasn't more changed than that. But I mean, I guess it happens. It is what it is. Void Forge is just gonna be like... there's a lot of ways to stack added damage. And I think Void Forge is gonna be pretty crazy with that. The question is, I don't know what the most efficient thing is, but... let me see... Path of Building. Shortcuts. Where's my Path of Building? I mean... if you could run a Bone Shatter... if you could run Bone Shatter with Void Forge... if you could run Void Forge, Bone Shatter, it would be the strongest thing in the game, but you can't, thank God. Because it has such an insane amount of added fizz, and Trauma gives you more added fizz. Or not more added fizz, but more damage. Like, if you could run that, that'd be insane, but you can't. Frankly, I think Cleave is gonna be pretty good with it, because it also has a ton of added fizz. You just want, like, a ton of added fizz on it. I wish Perforate had more, honestly, you might want to run Rage Storm with it, or Rage Vortex. I have around 10k. Maybe a little bit more. I'm not... I did the math, but there's too much uncertainty. Because there were some leagues where I didn't play that much, and some leagues where I no-lifed like an absurd amount. So it's kind of hard to extrapolate. How many do you have? It's fine. Like, it's not a competition to have more hours. How do I not say? Okay. Look, I know people that have like 17, 18k, so don't worry about it. 25k? Ooh. I mean, sensei, teach me. That's all I have to say. Did a lot of racing? Same. Not back in the day. I didn't do enough racing back in the day, which is what you're referring to, I think. Because old racing, you ended up playing like such an insane amount because of the schedule. So I feel you. I wonder what I want to play. It's gonna be weird to figure out. I really want to see, more than anything else, I really want to see the Vol Caustic Arrow. That is like the craziest thing. Is like, if that has to be pretty broken for Caustic Arrow to be playable, but if it is pretty broken, then I know what my league starter is. But assuming it's not, which it's more than likely, then we're gonna look at the other stuff. But it's kind of hard because the melee skills all have to be like absurdly high numbers to be worthwhile. I mean, they nerfed one form of Righteous Fire with Pious Path losing 50%, but it's not that big of a deal. And you can always run fucking Chieftain or Trickster. And even some other stuff as well. I've seen some people run Elementalist Righteous Fire, even though I don't think it's that good. Juggernaut was fine, but it didn't have anything that cool recently. Like, Juggernaut was great back in the day. I don't think it's that good anymore. I mean, it's not bad either. It's pretty decent, yeah. It's like fine. It's not exciting, but it's not bad. I will say, my secret tech. So, fun fact, I'm gonna load up a character that doesn't work anymore because it got hotfixed. No, we're talking Righteous Fire, Juggernaut. I'm gonna load up a character that doesn't exist anymore because they hotfixed out the interaction he was playing, but it's arguably... If it didn't get hotfixed out, it would probably be the strongest character I've ever played. Unfortunately, it did get hotfixed out, so that sucks. Let me see if I can find it. So here's a bugged interaction that no one played with except me, pretty much. Wait, what? Did I? Oh, I've dropped the stuff that I was running with it. That sucks. Where the fuck did I put it? In all my remove only tabs. Did I just? Where did I've like never touched this ever. This is like, okay, but like, bruh, I'm sad. Okay, so, I guess I'll explain it. What's the name of it? It's a staff. Unique staff, PoE. Sire of Shards. So, there was a really interesting interaction with Corrupting Fever. Where Corrupting Fever is... like... Let me see if they have it in the patch notes. Yes. Or no, it's not. It's actually not here. That's really fun. That's really funny. The first of all, there was a bug 2 leagues ago where it inherited gem levels from your weapon swap, which meant you could put it in a like chest piece and then have 2 cold iron points in your offhand. And if you had 2 cold iron points in your offhand, you got +6 levels to it. And then obviously it costs way too much life to use. At level 26, for example, I had it at 27. At 27, it costs 1,000 baseline, but I had it 6 linked in a chest piece, so it costs like 10,000 something life, probably more. So you can't pay that, but you can, because you could use the betrayal mod that makes stuff not cost anything anymore. So you activate it with the betrayal amulet mod that makes it free, and then you run a level 27 Corrupting Fever in a Sire of Shards. Or rather, this is what you use to attack with your main skill, and then you run like... I ran Ball Lightning, and I just... Pew! Ball Lightning. And then I was... Then I cleared the entire universe, because I had a level 27 Corrupting Blood in it that, you know, had the damage of 2 Cold Iron points. And then I ran that with a Auto Flasker Scion. So I had the Pathfinder thing here. Flask gain 3 charges every 3 seconds. And I just spec'd so that I had like max charges of everything. And I had like 90 all rest and stuff. It was really good. Budget mage blood, basically. The issue is it's really annoying to get to the point where it actually was just permanent every flask. But now with the 10% duration on jewels, it's gonna be super easy to auto flask. Does that mean that you want to run it? Depends on the build. I don't think you want to run it for most things, but if you can find something that deals egregious amounts of damage so that you can afford to, then this would be a very nice speed clearing and convenience thing where you just have really strong flasks on permanently while you're doing other stuff, and for bosses as well. Obviously, it's not that strong when you can automate them for clearing anyway, but having it for bosses was very convenient. And you can run like resist flasks that are uber charged for certain encounters and get like 90 or resist in that type. They changed that. They nerfed them, which sucks. They are... How good are they now? I don't remember how good the flasks are. Wait, craft item. Wait. Can't you pick flasks here? Oh yeah, you can. Utility. Oh yeah, it's just less damage taken, which is not as good at all. It's pretty bad comparatively, but it's still decent. So you could get supercharged flasks for it, which is not bad. Have them on permanently. And that's gonna be easier now at the 10% duration on jewels. Other than that, I don't think it gives a lot for RF though. I still think running Inquisitor is probably fine for RF. But there are probably more attractive options as well. Again, I think Elementalist is decent, and Trickster is also fine. Chieftain and Juggernaut. It's pretty hard to tell what you want to run for it now, actually. I'm interested to see what people come up with. I mean, you want curse stuff as well. Having Occultist Explosions is really fucking nice. Profane Bloom. Malediction. You'd run Profane Bloom, Malediction, and then you'd run Vile Bastion and Forbidden Power, I guess. Not that strong. It's barely... It's like weaker than before. So it's not that attractive. Especially since it lost the curse effect. I wonder if Elementalist is just a play for RF now. This node is useless. It was way weaker than we thought. Spellbreaker was almost really good, but I don't think it matters that much. Region is not as strong as people think. I don't know, I just don't like... I don't like the Trickster package for RF at all. I like it for other stuff, but not RF. I'm very much looking at Elementalist. I will say, I love playing Berserker. It is my favorite class in the game because of how fast you can get and how tanky you can get despite everything. If the new volcanic ability is good enough, which it might be, I might be really enjoying Berserker gaming again. The issue is that this fucking class is way too strong. This single ascendancy has ruined my life for so long. Like, I delete characters pretty frequently. So this is less representative than it should be. But, 1, 2, 3... Okay, never mind. I've deleted almost all of my characters back then because I haven't bought any extra slots. You can see what ruined my life recently with the fucking detonate dead. It just detonate dead, detonate dead, detonate dead, detonate dead, like all of it. But before then, it was all duelist. I just played duelist, duelist, duelist because of this fucking node. Fortitude is so broken. Unstoppable Hero is also so broken. And then fucking Master Metal is so broken. And Inspirational is so broken. And Worthy Foe is so broken. Yeah, I had this fucking ascendancy, man. This fucking ascendancy is everything. I'm unsure what I want to play, which is probably a good thing, but I hate that I'm leaning towards Righteous Fire because of the... It's like the least changed thing, you know? I'm kind of excited for this. If the numbers are good, we might play that. If the numbers are good, we might play this. If the numbers are good, we might play this. Whatever the numbers are the best at, we might play of this. Otherwise, we might just play Frostblades. Frostblades is nerfed. There's almost no way that the damage buff compensates for the 30% cold pen that it had before with 2 jewels. I mean, you free up 2 jewel slots, but like, bro, 30% cold pen was a lot of cold pen. And the buff wasn't that big numerically. And also, I think there's a better way to play this, which is playing Shockwave. I think playing Shockwave is definitely the play, and then finding other ways to convert to Elemental for the Shockwave. Because, like, Cyclone doesn't deal damage on its own, but Shockwave deals a fuck ton of damage for clearing. It's not amazing for bossing, but it scales off the same thing as the new skill, so you just scale cooldown reduction and it scales both, which is great. I think this was one of the best mappers for, like, early on, before you really get disgusting gear. And even then, like, the duelists that in like softcore that always hit 100 are loving that shit. It's like you go Shockwave. It's not that many of them, but you always have these fucking duelists. You see how many of them, and they just all run fucking staff Shockwave, and it's a very chill playstyle where you just explode the screen when you move and deal like a decent bit of damage with it. It's still not amazing, but with the Frost Legion skill, since it scales off the same thing, running double 6-link with it might be cool. Use this for bossing and Shockwave for clearing. I think that's better than Frostblades for clearing. Because Frostblades requires you to scale attack speed in order to feel decent, and this specifically does not want you to scale attack speed. Frozen Legion does not benefit from attack speed like at all. So I think it's just better to not play a skill that requires you to scale attack speed. Also, Failure, hello. Sorry for not noticing you if you're still here. Yeah, I mean, I'll be streaming my start as I always do. Since I don't have any melee to play, I might just play fucking Path of Exile for the duration instead and just grind Path of Exile. Yeah, overall, very exciting in every department except skills. And I'm very disappointed that they didn't touch skills again for the 4th league in a row, but it do be like that. That said, the nerfs are significant enough that they might matter. I'm gonna... I'll be honest, I'll probably do what I always do, which is click this here. I click this here. And then I look around. I look around. I look around. Wait. I guess I don't look around. Because he's not online right now. That's fucked. Motherfucker. I do Ben underscore? Or... It's not Lighty7, it's fucking Ben underscore, yeah. I just look at this guy, and I go, what are you theory crafting? And then I steal it. Not sure where to go nextly. Yeah, I mean, the new skills are exciting. I mentioned it earlier, but I think the... I think what I'm most excited for, skill-wise, is if this is viable. Because goddamn, Caustic Arrow feels amazing to play if it deals damage, which it currently does not. So it feels awful to play, because if you don't deal damage, surprise, surprise, skills do not feel good to play. But if it deals damage, it feels amazing to play. So I'm kind of hoping for that, but yeah, probably not. Probably not strong enough. I mean, look at the new skills. Frozen Legion looks hype. Volcanic Fissure looks hype. Not much more to say. With that though, I don't think I have much more to add, because we don't have Path of Building yet. And I mean, everyone probably has their own, like, plans, but I personally don't feel like planning right now. I woke up pretty early, so I might just find someone to raid. Who do I want to raid? Probably Kalindi, right? New Flask is so sick. Yes, the new Flask is amazing. I really like the new Flask. Raid Kalindi 23. Yeah, I mean, I will be playing this. So for everyone here, I'll probably stream in the melee category because I'm lazy and I get more viewers that way. Haha. But I will be streaming like all of it probably. So if you want to watch and, you know, chill with someone who plays melee and this, I don't know, just have the overlap, then you know where to find me. With that said, good night.